start the week with the ever-reliable Stephen Colbert, a man who was once funny, perhaps decades ago, but has been reduced to a miserable, moaning activist incapable of wit. He's been reduced to this.
Look, Dana, they're trying to portray Border Patrol agents and ICE agents as Gestapo, Nazi, and many other words. Yes, do not compare ICE or Border Patrol agents to the Nazis. That's an unfair comparison. The Nazis were willing to show their faces.
Yes, Stephen, well done. ICE and Border Patrol agents are worse than Nazis. How clever and comedic of you. And do seek help before the men in white coats arrive and whisk you away. And talking about crazy, let's have a look at these agitators, these brainwashed clowns who think they are heroic freedom.
Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody.
Just have a look
Happy
at
Monday.
This lot, how
Thanks for joining in.
performative and pathetic this all is. Media commentator Megan Murphy nailed it when she said, these people 100% think they're in a movie, but they're just privileged little nerds who have zero relationship with working class or poor people and have no idea how the real world works. Here. Talk about being out of touch. Let's hear from Lady Gaga, who had a lengthy rant at a concert in Tokyo. She read it out. It wasn't very good. Here's a little of what she had to say.
My heart is aching, thinking about the people, the children, the families all over America who are being mercilessly targeted by ICE.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
I'm thinking about all of their pain and how their lives are being destroyed right in front of us. I'm also thinking about Minnesota and everyone back at home who is living in so much fear and searching for answers on what we all should do.
Just so divorced from reality. And did you notice the lack of cheers and applause? The Japanese have no time for your empty, vacuous and self-indulgent virtue signaling, Lady Gaga. It blows my mind that she would deliver that idiotic rant in Japan, a country that has zero tolerance for illegal immigration, a country with some of the strictest migration.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Thanks for joining in.
Now, when the celebs
These lefties out here tripping
on lawless, violent agitators in Minneapolis, they are cheering for SAC CNN hack Don Lemon, who was arrested for storming a church during Sunday service.
Right, what an idiot. Glad he arrested.
In Hollywood.
That's crazy.
But I'm sure what you're desperate to know right now is what the most chronically wrong woman in Hollywood thinks of the whole Don Lemon saga. A woman who is proof that wisdom does not come with age. Take it away, Hanoi Jane.
Don Lemon is a professional journalist.
Jane Fonda. These actors are tripping.
Doing their job. Nothing more, nothing less. And he's been arrested. And they'll make up all kinds of defamatory
Good morning,
things
Barbara.
to
Good
say
morning.
about him. That's what they're doing.
Thanks for joining in.
This is how autocrats act. We can't fall for it.
Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Get to 1,000.
When a red line is crossed like this, we cannot be silent.
Let's bring in Newsweek's senior editor-at-large and Article 3 Project Senior Counsel, Josh Hammer. Josh, Jane Fonda says this is authoritarian and a breach
Happy
of
Monday.
First
Thanks for
Amendment.
joining in. Like and subscribe.
So I know
These
Don
lefties out here
Lemon.
tripping,
My
y'all.
husband created
Check it out.
CNN, and I will fight for their right to speak, which is guaranteed in our Constitution. They arrested the wrong Don.
Josh, what's your response to those pearls of wisdom from Jane Fonda?
Yeah, Rita, I literally can't think of a greater endorsement of Pam Bondi DOJ issuing an arrest warrant for Don Lemon, and then Hanoi Jane herself coming out of post. I mean, what an absolutely mesmerizing endorsement for this current prosecution. Look, this notion that journalists in America have a higher First Amendment protection than most Americans is a common misconception. Look, I am a lawyer. I'm also a journalist. My First Amendment rights are the exact same as literally any other American in the country. Journalists have no higher or any different degree of First Amendment protection. The First Amendment does indeed protect your right to stand on a public property, stand on a sidewalk, stand in a public square. You can hold up your dumb Ford Foundation, Ties Foundation, stupid open boroughs, George Soros Foundation sign, abolish ICE, DHS, fascist, arrest the orange man, whatever. Who gives a crap? You can do that. Here's what you can't do. You can't trespass private property. And even more than that, we have federal statutes on the books that specifically criminalize doing this when it comes to a house of worship. This back in the good old days, back when there was bipartisan agreements that, speaking of the First Amendment, Hanoi Jane, you know what else is there? Oh yeah, the free exercise of religion. And back in the 1990s, back when Democrats were still relatively sane, you had the Bill Clinton-led Democrats lead this bipartisan charge to pass the FACE Act, a 1994 statute that specifically criminalizes doing exactly what Don Lemon and his bunch of not-so-merry left-wing hooligans did in St. Paul, Minnesota a few seconds ago. You can't disrupt a house of worship there. Frankly, Rita, we've heard how many times the past few years this refrain from Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, and the rest of what I used to call the Democrat lawfare complex. How many times do we hear this refrain that no one is above the law? I agree with that statement. No one is above the law. The question is Don Lemon above the law? Pam Bondi and Donald Trump say no. They're totally correct on that.
Well, Hollywood says he is. He's getting standing ovations from Hollywood these days. Ridiculous stuff. We've got another Democrat media narrative that has come undone, Josh, by facts and footage. And that's this characterization of Alex Pretty, who was shot dead in a scuffle with federal officers in Minneapolis. We had CNN claim this man was perfect. They use that word, perfect man, what you want your son to grow up to be, who you want your daughter to marry. And every Democrat politician has pushed that narrative, but then footage emerged of his antics at other recent violent protests. Let's have a look at this viral clip of Democrat Elizabeth Warren talking about Pretty with that unearthed footage playing.
Caring for people was at the core of
Pocahontas.
He was
Yeah, Pocahontas.
of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature of calm.
It's been an interesting week last week, you guys. Don Lemon got arrested.
Manufactured outrage.
Nicki Minaj got a gold card from Trump.
Truth is
Last
kind
week
of
was something
lost
else.
in the hysteria. But I wonder how many are reassessing the perception of what happened with footage like that.
Yeah, nothing says composure like the video that we just saw. Like literally kicking a federal vehicle, of yelling, spitting in the face of officers there. Nothing
Makes
says
no
composure, Elizabeth Warren. Nothing says composure, Pocahontas, like that video right there. I mean, how many times does the left do this, where they find someone? I mean, I think back to Kilmore.
Why do you keep on fighting for these criminals? That's the crazy thing about it. Why y'all fighting for these criminals? If you're gonna fight for these criminals, we got criminals in jail now. Fight for them.
He's out there in a white t-shirt mowing his lawn
Shit
there.
crazy.
That's what you should be when you grow up there. You should be the Maryland man, Kilmore Garcia. You should be Alex Pretty, who's full of composure there. Heck, why don't you go back to the Washington Post from about 7 or 8 years ago? Why don't we try to be an austere religious scholar, kind of like Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the head of ICE there? I mean, the hits just keep on coming right there. But look,
Thank you.
tongue in cheek here. Look, the reality
Appreciate
is
it.
the young man died, and he died because
Thank you.
it's very simple. He died because Democrats did not play along. If Tim Walz and Jacob Fry and Ilhan Omar and Keith Ellis and the rest of the Minnesota Democrats had just said, okay, you know what? Federal law is supreme. We understand the Supremacy Clause. We understand the Constitution. Come in here, arrest criminal aliens. If they had done that, Rita, none of this would have happened. The reason that Renee Good and the reason that Alex Pretty are dead is because they ginned up these people into demagogic fits of rage. It's as essentially kind of taken the Hamas martyrdom complex and taking it to the American home front. They're trying to use these people as martyrs. It's like death pornography, really. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. And again, a young man lost his life, someone who I didn't agree with politically, obviously, but it's still tragic. He had siblings, parents, et cetera there. And ultimately, really, the blood really, in this case, is on the hands, I think, of Tim Walz, Keith Ellison, and these demagogues who riled up people like Alex Perry.
And it's funny that this is happening in Minneapolis when ICE is operating throughout the country, and they are deporting a lot more people from places like Texas than Minnesota, and we're not seeing those issues there because law enforcement is cooperating instead of obstructing. And of course, Minneapolis and Minnesota, the entire state of Minnesota has been caught up in an unprecedented fraud scandal. And we're not talking about that anymore, are we, Josh? The focus is entirely on ICE and these protests. Now, we've seen more healthcare professionals fired for posting unhinged rants online, threatening to harm political opponents. Most people would call that domestic terrorism. Among the latest to be sacked is Melinda Cook, a nurse anesthetist.
If you dislike somebody, don't you try to kill them.
Who was fired because she posted videos of herself encouraging medical professionals to drug ICE agents with paralytic meds. And she also advised non-medical staff to do their bit.
Rex Human, appreciate it. Yeah, I like Rita, man. Rita be on it, man. She hilarious.
They're around. They're an ICE agent. Bring some X-Lash and put it in their drinks. Get them sick.
Get them sick, Josh. That's what
like
she
and
said.
Subscribe, everybody. Like and subscribe. Happy Monday.
A disproportionate number of sick, dangerously ideological people in the medical profession. And that's scary. These videos of nurses or others in the medical profession posting just really ugly, threatening stuff online are becoming all too common.
Yeah, someone apparently didn't read about the Hippocratic Oath when she went to nursing school, I suppose, right? I mean, the first rule, of course, medicine is famously to do no harm. I guess unless you're a leftist.
How to, honey? She said he's
actually is do harm. If you're a leftist, maybe the very first rule actually is to cheer on the assassination of my late friend Charlie Kirk. If you're a leftist,
there you go. The sister confirmed that he's a violent person. That's crazy.
Assassination of Donald J. Trump. If you're a leftist, maybe your first instinct is start naming your babies Luigi after Luigi Mangione, this anarchist who shot dead
right, you're supposed to be at work getting his money, not being an activist.
Blank range, simply for being the CEO of a healthcare company there. And now astoundingly, Luigi Mangione is actually going to avoid the death penalty. To me, it's utterly astounding there. I mean, there's something deeply sick. There's something deeply sick in the American leftist mentality. And I think that the media bears a shockingly high part of the blame for this, because they have spent years and years and years communicating this message that their political opposition is not someone to be amicably debated with, but is an existential threat. How many times have we heard this? A threat to democracy, a threat to the rule of law, a threat to the Constitution. They're a threat to all of us there. Take matters into your own hands and do whatever is necessary to make this right there. That's how you end up with videos like this. That's how you end up with all these outrageous elementary school teachers who are having their children read celebrations of Charlie Kirk's murder. It's sick stuff, Rita. And I asked the same question that I've been asking for a long time about the rise of political violence, which is, where are the leaders on the Democrat side of the aisle, these senior statesmen who can look at videos like this and say, enough, this is way too far there? I haven't seen that yet. And I haven't seen that because probably there's no one capable of giving that speech at this time. It's just all you need to know about the state of that party.
People are allowed to protest. It's just the fact that Petty went out there tripping, agitating the officers, blowing whistles, blocking traffic, agitating the officer is not protesting. Protesting is standing there with your sign, said you had to say, but you're not blocking, you're not bringing no weapons, you're not bringing no pepper spray, none of that shit. Just protest and say, fuck you, that's it. These people are doing way more than that. And y'all see these videos. Y'all see it. They should be at home. They can't handle what ICE is doing. Stay at home.
Jews as modern day fascists and Nazis and whipping up that sort of fear and hysteria.
Right,
You're not going to
Thomas.
speak out against this, are you?
How y'all wake up to go get yourself
creating
executed
more
to
of
block
this.
ICE? That's
Now let's
stupid.
talk about the Epstein files. A lot of new revelations.
Like
in
and
the
subscribe,
latest
like and
Epstein
subscribe. Thank you guys.
document
Appreciate it.
dump,
Appreciate it. 100.
including this. The convicted pedophile wants to ask Ken Starr to help discredited TDS-afflicted author Michael Wolff.
Right, in the Constitution it says peacefully assemble. Go ahead and protest, but peacefully. Blowing horns and whistles and all that is not peaceful. Come on, y'all. Thank you guys for subscribing.
On President Trump, Josh, we learned from previous document releases that back in 2015, Wolff encouraged Jeffrey Epstein to blackmail the then presidential candidate Donald Trump. The relationship here is fascinating, and Michael Wolff has also
Thanks,
said
Albert, for
that
subscribing. Thanks, Albert.
Jeffrey Epstein believed it was Donald Trump who first alerted law enforcement about what was happening under his roof, and he hated him for that ever since.
You know,
He says he's protected from harm. Yeah, he was blocking the. Yeah, the ICE agent did push her out the way, but
being a member at
it doesn't matter though.
club after these revelations first came to light. So, I mean, Jeffrey Epstein, Rita, my reading of the case for a long time, that Jeffrey Epstein held a grudge against Donald Trump for a very, very long time. I mean, there were those messages that came out where Jeffrey Epstein was texting the non-voting rep for the U.S. Virgin Islands during this Michael Cohen hearing. He was obsessed with trying to make Michael Cohen look good, to bring down Donald Trump there. He was obsessed with bringing down Trump. He hated Donald Trump. And he hated Donald Trump because on a level, it was very personal for him. Jeffrey Epstein, the reasons that are still somewhat
I'm a MAGA fan, if you guys want to know.
This
MAGA.
astounding Rolodex and was hobnobbing with the rich and the famous and the this and the that. I mean, you name it, you probably knew them there. And there were very few people who, in the later years of his life, had no tolerance whatsoever, and Donald Trump was one of those individuals there. So, you know, this whole effort that we're seeing from the left, Ro Khanna of California, various other Democrats who were trying so hard to try to get Trump by the Epstein files, it's not going to work. I mean, you're much likely
like and subscribe. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Bill Clinton, who was famously a heck of a lot closer to Jeffrey Epstein than Donald Trump was himself.
Well, he did have that infamous painting of...
Right, Justin. These protesters are going to these ICE agents, and they got guns. It's like going a knife to a gunfight. That's what these protesters are doing. They're going to a protest with a knife to a gunfight, if I'm saying it right. Work with me.
Bill Clinton hanging at his main property in New York. I mean, that in itself...
Troubleshooter, how you been?
I think there's
been a while
more for us to learn about that. And among some of the more notable news items to come from this latest document dump is the claim that the billionaire and philanthropist Bill Gates caught sexually transmitted diseases from Russian girls and then tried to secretly give his wife antibiotics to cover that up. Jeffrey Epstein claimed in July 2013 that the Microsoft co-founder asked one of his advisors to provide him with medicine to treat STDs. The allegations have been rejected as completely false by Gates' spokesperson, Josh. But I do recall Melinda Gates saying that the relationship Bill Gates had with Jeffrey Epstein was a key factor in the divorce.
Yeah, look, I mean, between Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, flip a coin. I mean, who's like the less reputable of the two? I mean, who could you possibly believe here, right? I mean, I honestly have no idea if this is true or not there. You know, Bill Gates, by the way, he's done something of an under the radar, a bit of a reversal on his signature issue on climate change. This was really kind of something on the radar, Rita. I'm not sure how many people caught this there. He issued a very interesting blog post on his blog in late October saying, you know what? I was actually wrong about climate change. It's actually not going to end the whole world. Turns out that a lot of us are kind of overstating the damage there. So he's trying to do a bit of a mea culpa on this there. I mean, maybe there's going to be another mea culpa coming when it comes to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein there. Look, I have no idea if Epstein was personally responsible for this divorce between Melinda Gates and Bill Gates, but you know what? It sounds like it kind of fits, honestly. I mean, they got divorced there. As you correctly know, Melinda said that Bill Gates was involved in all sorts of questionable sketch.
You can't compare a troubleshooter. You can't compare back then with King to what's going on with these ICE agents. It's a big difference, bro. Big difference. I'm 43 years old. You can't compare that. That's stupid.
King of sketchy behavior. Oh yeah, Jeffrey Epstein there, a guy who was very much in Bill Gates' Rolodex. So it's kind of like, if the shoe fits, maybe there's something there. But as I said, these are two absolute dirtbags. So, I mean, take your pick as to who to believe, I guess.
But I do repeat that Bill Gates, through a spokesperson, has said all these allegations are completely false. Josh Hammer, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for your time tonight. Welcome back. Let's have a look at some of the feral hate.
If Biden and Harris, most of all, if Harris was what she was, the border of the czar, we would have had none of this problem. And then you had Tom Homan, he was with Obama as well. So Tom Homan been with Obama and Trump. Same guy who's handling the ICE agent situation. But when Harris was there, what the fuck she do? She flooded the gates open. Now Trump got to clean this shit up. He ain't the best clean up, the best clean, but it's cleaning up. That's what I voted for. America first. Come the right way. Stop all this fraud, all this legal stuff, y'all. Vote for common sense. Let's continue.
Vile coming Nicki Minaj's way for standing up for Christians and for pledging her support to President Trump. Here's an example of that hate and bile, courtesy of actor and singer Billy Porter.
Nicki Minaj has been trending, over
her. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time.
Thanks for joining in. Thanks you guys for joining in. Happy Monday.
At all of them.
Joining me now is celebrity and royal commentator and host of Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered. Kinsey, that was quite the meltdown from Billy Porter.
It really was. Should we send somebody to check on him? What we're seeing here is intolerance masquerading.
Like and subscribe, everybody. Help the brother get to 1,000. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, everybody.
Her political support.
Name is Deunta.
Instead of debating it, she's met with
Happy
public
Monday.
shaming and theatrical rage. The irony is the same people preaching inclusion, like Billy Porter, seem completely incapable of tolerating dissent, especially from a powerful woman who will not fall in line.
Well said. Now, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has called on Andrew Mountbatten Windsor to testify
Let's get to
before
1,000.
Congress
Thank
following
you.
the release of even more Epstein files, including disturbing photos which appear to show the man formerly known as Prince Andrew on all fours over the top of a female lying down on the floor. Kinsey, what more can you
How you
tell
doing,
me
Ghost
about
Samurai?
this
Thanks for
latest
joining in.
Epstein document dump?
How humiliating. And we're still going through these documents. There's still more to be discovered. But I think that these latest messages and pictures only deepen the questions around Andrew's judgment and associations. The material reinforces a longstanding concern that the royal family has never fully confronted the seriousness of Andrew's proximity to Epstein.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Calls for his testimony are about accountability, and the pressure is growing because silence is no longer acceptable. But truly, how credible is Andrew? Not very.
No, I still remember that interview, that infamous interview where he spoke about how he doesn't sweat, and that was proof of his innocence. I mean, that was such an ill-advised move for him. If he's going to testify before Congress, let's hope he's a little better rehearsed than he was for that interview. Now, in another email, Sarah Ferguson, Fergie, told Jeffrey Epstein that she was waiting for her youngest daughter to come back from a shagging weekend. This is in a 2010 email after the convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein asked her if she was coming to New York.
Yeah, I mean, that email is shocking because of how casual it is. It's vulgar and
let's get to 1,000. Thank you. Happy Monday.
For her daughter today. But it also reflects an environment where Epstein was normalized within royal circles long after his criminal behavior was widely known. You know, how often do we talk about how you are who you associate with? Whether or not laws were broken, the moral failure and lack of boundaries is undeniable and deeply uncomfortable for the monarchy.
And Melania Trump's documentary brought in a whopping $7 million US at the box office.
The Epstein list is something else, man.
Making it the
So I can say that's something else.
for a non-fiction
Prayers to the victim.
In the
Prayers
past
to the
decade,
victim.
of course, the left-wing media are not impressed. The Hollywood Reporter called the documentary a propaganda
Like and subscribe, everybody.
doco.
Help me get to 1,000. Like and
Atlantic
subscribe.
labelled it a disgrace, and The Guardian said it was pure, endless hell. Oh, Kinsey, they must be.
I'm a MAGA Trump supporter, but I'm not gonna block nobody on my channel. Now, if you a bot or baiting on some bullshit, then I'm gonna block you. If not, you are welcome to my channel. I'm not gonna block nobody unless I have to. Other than that, if you like Biden, you're on my channel. If you like Harris, you're on my channel. I don't care. I'm just sharing information with you guys, and that's it. Enjoy the chat. Enjoy you guys. Enjoy the show.
Miserable. It's doing so well at the box office.
Are you allergic to haute couture? Like, how can you call it?
If you're a bot, I'm getting you out of here. If you ain't no bot, you can stay as long as you want. I don't care.
But, I mean, they are furious.
Like and subscribe, everybody. Like and subscribe.
The media can
Let's have some
smear
fun.
all they want, but 7 million does not come from ideology. It comes from genuine interest. Viewers are curious about Melania Trump as a person, not the caricature they've been sold. And that loss of narrative control is what really upsets the critics, I think.
No problem. I don't know if you were a bot or not.
I haven't seen it yet, so I can't pass judgment, but there is certainly a great deal of fascination with Melania. She does seem like a woman of mystery, despite the fact she's been in the public eye so long. What have you made of the film? Have you watched the full thing or seen clips?
Thank you.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I did think that it was. I don't think I know her. I certainly did not walk away feeling like I know who she truly was, but I definitely thought that she was a much softer character than she's been painted out to be in the press. A great mother, somebody.
He was the last president. That's why I mentioned about Biden. Other than that, it's all good.
Pants in the family, but I feel like that's a disservice to the president. But she is definitely the boss when she wants to be. She's a brilliant woman, has a great head on her shoulders, and is just gorgeous. I mean, I think she's incredibly beautiful.
And Kinsey, Melania has not featured on the cover of Vogue, unlike every other First Lady in recent years or other fashion magazines, despite being uniquely stunning. Now, let's talk about Joe Rogan. He's revealed that he refused to
it's a lot going on, a lot of distractions going on because money. You got to follow the money.
In order to be nominated in their podcast category. Here he explains why he decided.
News scroll, you good? If you're not no bot, I ain't gonna block you. You good? You can stay as long as you want.
Rogan nominated for the Golden Globes. Like, why did Amy Poehler went? I didn't submit. I had to pay $500, and the $500 is like for paperwork or whatever. I said, no. I go, I don't care. I already won. Like, you can't tell me I didn't.
You got to compare what's going on. The border's open because of Biden and Harris. That's what we're talking about because that's how we got here. It started with them. That's why I'm bringing up Biden. Other than that, may God bless Biden and Harris.
Listen, you're going to have a contest in front of all these people wearing tuxedos, and you're going to say, now I'm not number one?
Smart move by him, but getting recognized by those people should not be a goal of someone like a Joe Rogan.
Let's get to 1,000 people. 1,000 people in the chat.
It's not
1,000 likes, 1,000 subscribers.
Wrong track.
Help a brother out.
People are giving you awards, Kinsey.
Exactly, and it's so right when he was like, you're not going to tell me I'm not number one. Analytically, statistically, you can look at that guy's number on the charts for how many years now. He's like, Amy Poehler doesn't take that away from me because a group of her friends decide to hand her this trophy. And he understands something legacy institutions refuse to admit. Cultural relevance cannot be bought with submission fees. When award bodies start charging creators to validate them, it exposes how out of touch they are.
Now, Ellen DeGeneres has been caught shopping for a new mansion the same day she joined calls for a nationwide no work, no school, no shopping protest against ICE. Kinsey, as I've often said, if the left didn't have double standards, they'd have no standards at all.
I just know that you were shocked. You were floored when you saw this story. I mean, this is textbook celebrity hypocrisy, calling for economic shutdowns while shopping for luxury real estate on the same day tells you everything. These protests are symbolic gestures that cost activists nothing. It costs them nothing to post something on their Instagram, while working families are expected to shoulder the consequences.
Now, it's been revealed that Tom Cruise deserted his £35 million Knightsbridge flat in London just days after an armed moped gang raided a nearby Rolex store because, according to insiders, Tom Cruise feels London has declined and is no longer safe. Kinsey, I know plenty of Brits who feel exactly the same way.
So do I. Thank you, Sadiq Khan. Londoners have been raising alarms about crime for years, and they are often dismissed as alarmists. But when someone as security conscious as Tom Cruise quietly exits, it reinforces what locals already know. Public safety concerns are no longer theatrical. They are lived experiences. I have friends that can't wear watches anymore. You have to wear a leash on your cell phone. It's unacceptable.
He said, follow the money. The ballroom was paid by private donors. Google, Apple.
Look at your phone and walk down the
that money
street.
didn't come from no taxpayer. It came from private donors.
Someone in a moped is going to go past and grab it out of your hand, and the cops will not help you, Kinsey, because this sort of crime is just so commonplace that they just tell you to
thank you
form and claim it on your insurance. They have given up almost.
But they will show up at your house if they don't like a tweet. They will show up at your house if they don't like what you posted on social media.
That's where the resources are. Absolutely. Kinsey Schofield, thank you so much for your time tonight.
This is a perfect example of the abundant hypocrisy of the media.
I'm glad to hear that everyone is up in arms about journalism and freedom of the press, and I wish that we'd also heard this when James O'Keefe of Project Veritas was being raided by the FBI because he was investigating Ashley Biden. I wish we'd also heard this kind of outrage when the Lay's journalist Steve Baker was arrested for filming and reporting on January 6th. So look, I think freedom of the press is extremely important, and I would like to see that same concern applied equally to both conservative and liberal journalists.
And this is a perfect example of this one definitely upset a few people.
When you play your concerts, do you ever see anybody with blue hair, female armpit hair? Some of these people we're looking at, kid, I don't know.
Listen, I was just watching your clips, and we have this low birth rate in America, and it all made sense to me. It just hit me right now, because who's going to sleep with these ugly, as broke, crazy, deranged, TDS liberal women? You look at these rallies, it's like a bunch of women that no guy wants to sleep with and a bunch of dudes that want to sleep with each other.
This one definitely upset a few people.
When you play...
Even Bill Maher couldn't believe his audience turned on him.
They arrested Don Lemon. Somebody went, yes, like good. I don't know. I didn't hear that. It's not good to arrest him. I don't,
I'm going to say he violated the FACE Act. He went into a church, disrupted their worship, and then later in an interview compared them to white supremacists. That's not journalism. That's activism.
But does it warrant getting arrested?
Disrupting a worship service, stopping people's right to worship God, that is violation of the FACE Act. And under the Biden administration, pro-lifers were sent to prison up to 11 years for praying in front of an abortion clinic. They were convicted under the FACE Act.
Even Bill Maher couldn't believe his audience turned on. I think the majority of Americans would agree with Kevin O'Leary on this.
What about if you're not left or right? You're just a taxpayer like me, a lowly taxpayer, and I'd like to investigate fraud. I want my money back if it was stolen from me. Is that okay or is that not okay?
Listen,
I want my money back.
Well, hold on. I mean, look, the fraud is being has been investigated, is being investigated. People are being prosecuted. The DOJ could be talking about that, but what they decided to do instead was send immigration officials into Minnesota because they thought that the fraud was coming only from foreigners when Somalis who they were targeting.
I don't care where it's coming from. I want my money back.
Fraud is bad.
She is saying I get it, but the point is,
they are doing.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You get your money back.
I represent taxpayers and I want my money back.
I think the majority of Americans would agree with Kevin O'Leary on this.
What about if you're not left or right? You're just a taxpayer like me, a lowly taxpayer, and I'd like to invest.
I don't know anything about the Don Lemon thing, but he's a sleazebag. everyone's known that. He's a washout. Probably from his standpoint, the best thing that could happen to him. He's getting, he had no viewers. He was a failure. He was a failed host, and now he's in the news. I didn't know anything about it.
Actually, he has a pretty big audience on YouTube and all the social media as well. But this is your big story of the week. What?
You know about it. The White House is posting little memes and smart takes about when life gives you
Thompson, how you doing? Yeah, I want my money back
So
too.
when do you believe that Mr. Lemon crossed the line from reporting on what was going on to criminal activity?
Don Lemon came into church and went to the pastor. The pastor was preaching. You can't do that.
Conveniently missing from what you just showed, George, is the appellate court and a judge on the appellate court who said just a few days later there was clearly probable cause and it wasn't even a close question. So, and by the way, a grand jury, which is what our system has set up to determine whether probable cause exists, concluded that there was probable cause. That indictment is now public. Everybody in this country can pull it up and read for themselves and see what the grand jury found that Mr. Lemon did. I am not going to comment on the charges specifically because it's not appropriate. But it's interesting that we talk about the First Amendment right. You have a right of freedom of religion, which is just as important as any other right that we have. And George, I don't know if you've watched the videos or read the indictment about what it's alleged that Mr. Lemon did, but if anybody in this country thinks that is, quote, independent journalism, I would like to have a conversation with you. Now, he's obviously has a very good lawyer. He can raise defenses in court to the extent he wants to, but nobody in this country should feel comfortable storming into a church while it's ongoing and disrupting that church service and thinking that we're just going to stand by and let that happen, because there is a statute that does not allow that to happen. It doesn't matter if you happen to be a former CNN journalist. It doesn't matter if you're a rioter. It doesn't matter if you think you're peacefully protesting. You are not allowed to do that.
Boy. So we got to continue our coverage of the mainstream liberal media trying to run cover for their former colleague, Don Lemon, aka Donna Lemonade, who could be facing prison time due to the fact that, in my opinion, he conspired to interfere with the rights, the First Amendment rights, freedom of worship of churchgoers on behalf of illegal immigrants with a bunch of domestic terrorists, right? I believe that Don Lemon was involved in the conspiracy. I think that the DOJ has a solid case against Don Lemon. That doesn't mean that it's a slam dunk. It doesn't mean that he will be found guilty for sure. It just means that I don't think that is weak, right? I think that most people who are claiming that the DOJ's case is weak either haven't read the indictment or haven't seen the live stream, right? I think that the live stream and the indictment together, to me, in my non-legal opinion, I believe that the DOJ has a solid case. Doesn't mean it's a slam dunk. Doesn't mean that Don Lemon 100% is going to be found guilty. It just means that it's not bullshit, right? It's not flimsy. It's not what people are trying to characterize it as. Because, again, they have an incentive for Don Lemon to get off because of the fact that if Don Lemon actually is held accountable for his actions, then it will be the first time that a liberal journalist has actually been held accountable for criminal activism disguised as journalism. And because all of these so-called journalists on national television are actually activists, they feel threatened by that, right? Because the journalists have created this imaginary legal shield for them to do whatever they want to do, right? They have an absolute right
How you doing, Sora?
of freedom of press, freedom of speech, to the point where they think that...
Thanks for joining in, Oscar. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate it.
That is what these so-called journalists are implicitly saying, that their rights trump everybody else's rights, okay? This is what they're saying when they come out here and they defend Don Lemon, talking
Like
about...
and subscribe, everybody. Like and
the
subscribe.
right to interfere with other people's worship. So that brings me to this interview here on CNN featuring Dana Bash, who is a former colleague of Don Lemon, right? And Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who is going to school Dana Bash on why Don Lemon is guilty, right? As she cherry picks parts of the indictment that she is using to push her narrative that Don Lemon somehow, some way is being indicted, right? Charged for journalism.
Al Shabazz, she can stay as long as you want, man. You don't gotta leave the chat.
And get into this.
Good morning.
I understand. He is the only sitting
Everybody is
president,
welcome.
who we're talking about. I do want to move on. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon and another journalist
Thank you,
George
Oscar
Ford,
J. Thank
were
you. Thank
arrested on
you.
Friday on charges they violated federal law during a tense protest at a Minnesota church.
Like
A
and
conservative
subscribe.
federal judge, somebody who clerked for Antonin Scalia, already had rejected those warrants and wrote that there is no evidence that those two engaged in any criminal behavior or conspired to do so. Then an appeals court held up that decision. Why did you then bring this case to a grand jury after it already had been rejected by multiple judges?
So first of all, that appeals court, that's right. The appeals court, a judge on the appeals court said that there was clearly probable cause. There was absolutely probable cause that a crime had been committed. Okay, so it's true
By
that they
journalists?
rejected the mandamus petition, but yes, by Mr. Lemon and others, it's public. And so, yes, you're right. A judge in that court had said there wasn't probable cause. But guess what? Our system doesn't allow judges to make that decision. They can make that decision to get an arrest warrant on a complaint, but only a grand jury can bring forth an indictment. And so that's what we did. We went to a grand jury, which, as you know, are 25 citizens from Minneapolis and around that decide whether there's probable cause. And that's who returned an indictment.
Yeah. So, again, this is how the media plays games, right? It's always this sleight of hand stuff where they lie by omission, right? They keep pushing out the same stupid talking points because, again, they believe that the general public is not really educated in regards to what happened with Don Lemon in securing this indictment. Yes, the magistrate judge out in Minneapolis, Minnesota, rejected the DOJ's first attempt to issue an arrest warrant for Don Lemon. Okay, however, this guy clearly was a political operative. Okay, his wife works for Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota.
Being a journalist doesn't make you above the law.
Feels about going after Don
It's
Lemon
called the
and what he
FACE
did.
Act. Do
That's
y'all
not a crime
research,
at all,
people?
right? Even though clearly they broke state laws, right? Trespassing, like Don Lemon being told to leave and not leaving on camera, is trespass. The fact that the state is not charging him for it tells you everything you need to know about the politics involved, right? So again, these are politically captured judges, right? And then Dana Bash omits what Todd Blanche laid out here, which is that the appeals court had a judge that said, no, there's actually probable cause to go after Don Lemon, right? So they're pretending as if one judge's opinion is the only opinion that matters. And that's simply not the case, okay? You actually do have a judge who was on the appeals court that did say there is probable cause to charge Don Lemon. In fact, the question before the appeals court was not whether or not they felt like there was probable cause to go after Don Lemon. It was about whether they should compel the lower court judge to charge Don Lemon, right? Again, the media leaves that out. They're not going to explain that because they think that the audience is stupid, okay? But again, this is why channels like mine exist, so I can explain to people how this stuff works. The appeals court basically said that, hey, there are other ways to go after Don Lemon, right? Like, you don't just have to go through this judge. You can go through a grand jury in order to get Don Lemon, right? Again, going to a judge is different than going to a grand jury. Why is it different, right? The reason why it's different is because going to a judge is much narrower. Basically, they just give the judge the documents, and there's no back and forth, and the judge decides based off the documents.
El Shabazz, the preacher told him to leave, so he wasn't invited. How you gonna bring you in and then tell you to leave? That makes no sense.
The DOJ
He wasn't invited.
to make arguments and to give a presentation on
Like and subscribe.
this is why Don Lemon should be indicted, right? Or this is why these individuals should be indicted. This is why they should be charged. It's different, okay? So when Trump was indicted, right, by a grand jury, what did the liberal media say? Well, he was indicted by a jury of his peers, right? So therefore it's legitimate. Now all of a sudden, grand jury indictments aren't legitimate anymore, right? When a grand jury indicts a Democrat, all that stuff that they use in order to legitimize the witch hunt against President Trump goes out of the window. It goes out the window.
El Shabazz, come on, man. Stop
It's
trolling.
amazing how that works. And that's why I get so
If you watch the
frustrated
videos,
when
they was not invited. They
libertarian
interrupted the
types,
service.
right? And even some conservatives pretend as if we're operating on an equal playing
Watch the
field when
video.
it comes to the media and the Democrats and our institutions. We're not. The fact that you had a judge on the appeals court say there is probable cause against Don Lemon, plus the grand jury in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which right now is not a very Trump-friendly place. The fact that even they were convinced that, hey, yeah, there's probable cause to go after Don Lemon suggests that those initial judges, right, that rejected the arrest warrant against Don Lemon, that they're the ones who got it wrong. That they're the ones who are letting their politics interfere with whether or not justice should be served. So that's really what's going on here. And of course, the media is going to lie by omission because that's in her best interest, right? It's in her best interest not to be honest with people about what actually happened to Don Lemon. And I'm about to show you a concrete example of what I'm talking about.
What's up, Mark?
Lynch, I want to go, actually, I went through the entire indictment, all 29 alleged overt acts of conspiracy. And there's a lot to ask you about, but I'm just going to pick a few here. Okay, starting with overt act number 20, which says, quote, defendant Lemon told his live stream audience about congregants leaving the church and about a young man who Lemon could see was frightened, scared, and crying. And Lemon observed that the congregants' reactions were understandable because the experience was traumatic and uncomfortable, which he said was the purpose. Overt Act 21 says, quote, as the operation continued, defendant Lemon acknowledged the nature of it by expressing surprise that the police hadn't yet arrived at the church and admitted.
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. No. What do you think of it? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So, but there were folks who said, I have to take care of my flock. Listen, we live in there's a constitution, the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ. I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me. We're here to worship Jesus. That's why we're here. Okay, that's why we're here. That's what we're about. Do you think Jesus would be understanding and we're about love these folks? We're about spreading the love of Jesus. But did you try to talk to them as a Christian? No one is willing to talk. Okay, I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building. You don't want us to. I'm here to worship. You're here to worship. I'm always worship. I'm a Christian. We're here to worship. We're here to worship. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Knowing that the whole point of the operation was to disrupt. Why wouldn't a jury at trial see this as a journalist observing what is happening, which is protected by the First Amendment?
Well, you conveniently left out multiple allegations in that indictment,
Like and subscribe.
including surreptitiously avoiding saying where they were going, being part of the planning, being part of the decisions to make sure the police didn't know this was happening and federal law enforcement didn't know this is happening. There are multiple allegations there. And guess what? He gets to have a lawyer and he gets to have a defense. And so if he wants to go forward with the defense that, oh, shucks, I was just a journalist, he can do that. But obviously, as the indictment lays out, and which you didn't read on the air, there's a lot of things that Mr. Lemon did that you would never do.
You can't talk to no pastor giving a service. What is y'all doing? You can't just disrupt the pastor over some political BS. That's crazy, y'all. Come on, y'all. Y'all see the video.
Who's a journalist? You would never do that.
Okay,
Let's be honest.
This is not about me. This is about what happened, and this is about kind of the rules of the road.
Well, no. It's 100% about what you would do, right? That's actually a damn good question. What would you do, Dana, in that situation? Let's be real, because they're claiming this is an attack on journalism. You're a journalist. So now the relevant question becomes, okay, well, you're claiming this is an attack on journalism, and you are a journalist. What part of what Don Lemon did would you do? Would you do that? Would you do what he did? Would you do what Don Lemon did? And see, that question gets to the heart of what I've been arguing.
What's up, Jason? What's up?
About why the media
Mark, good morning, you guys.
has an incentive, why they're freaking out about this, why they want to dismiss this case against Don Lemon, why they want to try to play it down, try to say, oh, it's politically motivated, it's a witch hunt, they're trying to make an example out of Don Lemon. The reason why is because they're not journalists. They're not journalists. Dana Bash, as a journalist, right, she knows this. She's not threatened by what the DOJ is doing when it comes to going after Don Lemon, because she knows that she would never do that. Only an activist would do that. She knows that what Don Lemon was doing was not journalism. She knows that. She's trying to present it as journalism because she thinks the audience is stupid, and also because a vast majority of her own colleagues, including herself as well, too, and let's be real, she engages in activism, but she knows the fine line between journalism and activism. These people engage in activism, okay, and they disguise it as journalism because, again, their jobs really are to affect public opinion in ways that are favorable towards Democrats and harmful for Trump, right? That's their actual job. So at this point, they're not acting as journalists, but they know what journalism is. right? That's my point. And she knows that if she was actually there as a journalist, she would not have done what Don Lemon did.
Right. She would have waited till after the service was over with, then did what she did what Don did. Wait after the service, then do what you got to do.
Because she knows that Don Lemon was not there as a journalist. He was there as an activist disguised as a journalist. And that is what a vast majority of the mainstream liberal media is doing now, right? Instead of journalism. This is why she feels threatened. This is why she is omitting.
Out to honey, that's what's up, man. I don't get it.
Facts about this case against Don Lemon. Like, she admitted the fact that the judge on the appeals court said that no, there is probable cause to go after Don Lemon. Now she's admitting all of the other overt acts, which taken together, right, not just one of them, strongly suggest that he was not just a neutral observer there as a journalist. He was an active
Stand down, Black Parent. This not our fight.
a conspirator, right, in the operation. He was there.
Well, tell that to the protesters that's going out there blocking the ICE agent.
Coordinated with the other co-conspirators. He went out of his way to maintain operational secrecy about what they were doing in order to ensure that the operation was successful. I want you guys to understand, why is this not passive journalism? Don Lemon knew about the criminal activity, what they were going to do, and then on camera explicitly said, hey, I can't tell you about it because I don't want to ruin it. Hey, we have to back away to make sure that the plans are not revealed on live stream because, again, we don't want to ruin it. We don't want federal law enforcement to show up. We don't want law enforcement showing up before we get there. So he knew they were about to commit a crime and went out of his way to ensure the crime was successful. That is participation. That is being a co-conspirator. You're now a part of the protest because you are taking acts in furtherance of ensuring that the crime is successful. It's all on camera, okay? And no, it's not the same thing as some, casual observer knowing that somebody's about to go rob a bank.
How you call ICE agent thugs? I don't get it.
Why is it not
Thugs don't wear badges.
Because if you know that somebody's about to rob a bank,
What y'all saying,
you don't
Thompson?
have to call 911. You don't have to say anything about it because you don't know if it's actually going to happen. You don't know what they're actually going to do, right? It's probably the moral thing to do, which is to call 911, okay, or to tell somebody about it, but you don't have to. However, that is different.
Yes, I'm a Trump supporter. Thanks for joining the channel.
Way to hide, to make sure that other people.
Me being a Trump supporter doesn't mean you can't join the chat. Thanks for being in the chat.
About to happen, while at the same time being a part of the planning stages, coordinating with the bank robbers, and going to the bank robbery with the bank robbers, right? Do people understand that? It's not just one act in and of itself. It's all of the acts together suggest that Don Lemon was a participant, not just a neutral observer, right? Or a neutral journalist, a passive journalist. That's what it's about. It's all of the overt acts taken together, okay? That is what, in my opinion, is nailing Don Lemon, right? It's not just one thing. It's all of the things, okay? That's what people got to understand.
I mean, there are many.
Hey, News, do your research about Trump now renting to the black people. It's more research, it's more content to that why he didn't rent to the blacks. Because it's more stories that because Trump got a black lady living in Trump Tower that gets flowers sent to her every day. Do more research on Trump. He ain't the best either, but like his policies.
Question. Let me finish my question, and then you have the floor. There are countless examples of when reporters are embedded with people with, DOD, where we are told not to tell anybody where we're going. There are numerous examples of when we get embargoed information
Thank
that
you.
we can't report from your agency, for example, and that has happened on with presidents in both parties,
People
and
died
we
under Obama.
withhold reporting it until you say it's time to report it. That's not unusual, and it's not unlike what happened with Don Lemon and Georgia Ford.
Yeah, no, it is unlike what happened because are you a part of the planning?
One last one about Obama. Did you know that under his watch, 56 people died under ICE? But suddenly, under Trump, 1 or 2 people died and the whole world is going to hell?
Under Obama administration, 56 people died under ICE custody.
56. That's not a conspiracy. That's public record. According to
this is
the
coming from a black
ACLU,
woman.
under Obama, under ICE, failures of medical care, ICE malpractice. The list is long as to why and how these deaths occurred. And somehow, no mass riots. Obama deported over 3 million people. Let's not forget that.
One last one about Obama. Did you know that under his watch, 56 people died under ICE? But suddenly, under Trump, 1 or 2 people died and the whole world is going to hell?
Under Obama administration, 56 people died under ICE custody. 56. That's not a conspiracy. That's public record. According to
this is
the
coming from a black
ACLU,
woman.
under Obama, under ICE, failures of medical care, ICE malpractice. The list is long as to why and how these deaths occurred. And somehow, no mass riots. Obama deported over 3 million people. Let's not forget that.
One last one about Obama. Did you know that under his...
Central Park 5, the whole world condemned the Central Park 5 because at one point they said they did do it. And later on, they said they didn't do it and they found out it was plugging one guy. And later on, Trump said, hey, you know what I'm saying, my bad on that. I reacted. The whole world reacted to these people being found guilty of the situation. Then later on, everybody was somewhat apologized. But do y'all research, man.
Part of the coordination? Are you on camera cheering it on and basically trying to rationalize and browbeat people into agreeing with the church being taken over, right? Are you showing alignment?
Thank you, guys. Like and subscribe.
What's happening? Okay.
Happy
also,
Monday. Happy
we're talking
Monday.
about the DOD, right? So we're talking about military / police operation. We're talking about lawful actors, right? Don Lemon was not with lawful actors. So again, that's also a big difference when you talk about the DOD analogy, okay, versus what happened.
Morning, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, those are different situations, but regardless, the secrecy aspect is to avoid compromising safety, right, in situations like that, okay? The journalist is not helping the mission succeed, just observing. Don Lemon's explicit, stated purpose for maintaining operational secrecy was to help the plan succeed. He said that on camera. And this is why, again, I'm telling people, yes, it is possible for political reasons that this case could get dismissed against Don Lemon, right? But it ain't going to be because the facts don't fit, right? Because the facts don't suggest that he actually committed a crime. It's literally all on live stream. Like, he made the perfect live stream for the DOJ to charge him, right? Had he just actually did what journalists really do, which is just neutrally observe and say minimum outside of neutral commentary, honestly, they probably have a weak case, to be honest with you. They probably would not have gotten a grand jury indictment. But it's because of the fact that Don Lemon was being an activist on camera, right? That's why they got him. That's why they were able to secure a grand jury indictment, because he literally said and did everything on camera that the DOJ needed to.
How you doing, Sharon?
On
Good morning.
These charges, right? That's the crazy part about it, right? That's the crazy part. So again, these people are purposely being ignorant of the circumstances around what Don Lemon did, okay, versus what journalists typically do when they embed themselves with law enforcement or, you know, with criminal actors.
Well, listen, you are totally correct that happens every day, and it's happened for decades. But
like and subscribe, everybody. Help a brother out. Like and subscribe. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers.
It's not fair to him. But I will say that if you watch the publicly available live streaming that he engaged in, the comments that he made, I mean, that's what it matters, right? It matters, like, how do we
Hey, Thompson, I see all the comments.
How do we balance freedom of religion, the right of people to worship on a Sunday morning, okay, and the freedom
No,
of the
Trump.
press?
I don't think Trump's a pedophile. If he is a pedophile, if Trump's a pedophile, send his ass to jail with Diddy and Don Lemon. Lock their ass up. Period. Simple as that.
Agree with you, but my point to you is that I promise you that neither you nor your colleagues can honestly, with a straight face, if you watch everything that he did in the day before with the planning and the day of with what happened, with the comments he made while the kids were crying and screaming and racing away, while the parents were looking for their children upstairs,
but he doesn't
while they were just trying to have a church service.
Okay. Bottom line question for you is: was this really about what you just described, or was it about trying to make an example out of somebody who the president has sparred with?
What a question. This is a question that you ask when you're defeated, right? When you're defeated, you ask, well, is it really about Don Lemon committing a crime? Because again, she can't argue.
Right, Toy. Right. Good
Tom
one,
Lynch
Toy.
is laying out in regards to why Don Lemon, in fact, did commit a crime. So now it's like, well, is it really about
Yeah,
that?
if there's proof that Trump did anything with Epstein, yes, send his ass to fucking jail. Because a person took a picture with somebody doesn't mean they associate with them. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because people took a picture with Epstein or anybody, all of a sudden they associate with them or they know that person. That's not proof. You get plenty of proof. There's plenty of pictures of Bill Clinton on the flight list, eating food on the plane, going to the island. You really don't see nothing about Trump. And if they did have anything, you had over 10 years to push it out. Trump ran twice. You could have stopped Trump from running presidency if they had anything on him. Obama had it, Biden, Hillary, you name it. So, if Trump's guilty, send his ass to jail.
Good example out of him. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I don't even know that the president's even ever thought of Don Lemon. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I will tell you, we're not making examples of people. The day after that happened, the attorney general flew to Minneapolis. She was there for 3 days. What we saw, there is no scenario under which the American people are comfortable or think that that was right. I'm sorry. So no, it's not about making an example. It's
I
about
want to move on. I want to move on, but
yeah. So it's crazy to me how the media downplays the First Amendment right of Christians to worship, but they basically upplay their right to disrupt that, right? They upplay their rights of freedom of press as if, again, they have absolute rights, and they don't. And I guess the good thing, right, the silver lining,
Right, Toy.
in all of the stuff that has been happening over the past,
Right, Maxine said he had nothing to do with it.
is that people are getting a hard lesson.
I guess y'all didn't see that part about Maxine's testimony,
You
huh?
do not have absolute rights, and that rights stop where other people's rights begin, and people are learning that the hard way. They're learning that you don't have a right to obstruct ICE and to present yourself as a deadly threat, like, for example, almost running over an ICE officer and think that they can't use self-defense, right? Or you don't have the right to resist arrest and to confront Border Patrol agents while armed, okay, and believe that those agents don't have a right to self-defense, right?
Right.
Don Lemon is finding out that no, you
Like and subscribe, everybody. Like and subscribe.
others to commit the crime of interfering with people's rights to worship, to take away their rights to worship, and think that you aren't going to be held accountable because you're a so-called journalist, right? As if that means anything, right? Journalist is not like it's a title, but it's not an actual like special classification or designation. Like it's just a title. That's it, right? And these people are trying to build a legal shield around journalists to make it seem as if journalists can never be held accountable for any crimes they commit when their journalism crosses over from journalism to criminal activism, which is what a lot of these so-called journalists are doing, right? They're doing criminal activism and trying to present it as journalism, right? And that is, again, why they're freaking out so much.
Like and subscribe, everybody.
So, let me know what you guys think.
Let's
Make
get
sure
it
you
up.
like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
Look, I'm not naive. I think they're probably going to try again and again, as they did with Tish James and Comey. And
Right, the Democratic Party was the party of the KKK, the Jim Crow laws, all that bullshit. Spraying fire hose and dogs. That's the Democratic Party.
everyone, if one doesn't work, then they try something else, and that fails, and they try something else, and then they just don't give up because they want to save face. But I don't know what's next. I think what's next is that I have to be in it for the long haul, and just to be strong as always, and keep calm and carry on.
Because this federal magistrate judge said that they didn't have a case. Basically, the Department of Justice said that they didn't have a case. I mean, the judge said the Department of Justice didn't have a case. But you
Right, so all they know is violence, right?
No, I think
and name calling.
Because it doesn't matter if there's no law to fit. They will try to fit or retrofit something or go around a judge and just do it themselves.
You called for Don.
Hey, Bubba, the party did not switch. Buddha, don't do that, man. Democratic Party has been the same Democratic Party, just with Republicans.
Lemon's arrest over his church stunt in Minneapolis. He's since called you racist, unhinged, homophobic, and out of your depth. Anything you'd like to say to Don Lemon? Sucker, stop.
Wait, never happened. I don't get that. One was more for the rich, and one's more for the poor. That was,
breaking news to
I guess you can say that, I guess.
Confirmation from the U.S. Justice Department that the former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents. It's understood from a statement from his attorney that he was arrested last night in Los Angeles. He was there to cover the Grammy Awards. He has been a journalist for 30 years, and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he's always done. Now, he had appeared to be taking part in some of the protests that were taking place in Minnesota against some of the tactics being used by the ICE agents there, in which 2 protesters lost their lives. Well, it has been confirmed by the U.S. Justice Department that Don Lemon, the former CNN anchor, has been arrested.
Boy. So we got him. We finally got him. We got Donna Lemonade. Don Lemon has been arrested. I cannot tell you guys how much it makes me happy when I wake up in the morning. Like, I literally just woke up. I woke up. Start scrolling.
On racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats? Most people would probably say the Democrats, but this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s.
Like and subscribe,
In
everybody.
contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case, Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief,
Like and subscribe, everybody. Like and subscribe.
President Abraham Lincoln, the man who freed the slaves. 6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered,
Just keep watching, please.
John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named Andrew Johnson, assumed the presidency. But Johnson adamantly opposed Lincoln's plan to integrate the newly freed slaves into the South's economic and social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All 3 passed only because of universal Republican support. During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans.
Happy Monday. Like and subscribe.
And 22 black Republicans served in the
300
U.S.
people in the chat.
Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935. But after Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats
Like and
moved
subscribe,
back
everybody.
into
Let's
power
go.
in
Let's
the
go.
South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And how was all of this enforced? By terror, much of it instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest. As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation, originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to enslave blacks, keep them enslaved, and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats. As President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act, I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years.
Let's get to 1,000 subscribers.
The Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down. Massive government welfare has decimated the black family. Opposition to school choice has kept them trapped in failing schools. Politically correct policing has left black neighborhoods defenseless against violent crime. So when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party should come to mind? I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager University.
Like and subscribe, everybody. Like and subscribe. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, everybody. So I gave you some type of evidence, some type of proof. What you guys think? What was the lie? What was the lie? Like and subscribe.
Let me see what news is out there, right? What's going on? Topics.
Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, everybody. There's 200 people in the chat. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's do it. Let's do it, everybody. Why not?
DOJ, which is something that I told you guys could be coming, right? I've been following this story. A lot of people gave up on Pam Bondi because of the fact that the woke judge out of Minnesota, magistrate judge, refused to allow them to arrest Don Lemon, and then they went to an appeals court, and the appeals court refused to make that judge allow the DOJ to arrest Don Lemon. But like I told you guys, one of the judges said, yeah, there's probable cause here to arrest Don Lemon. But that's a separate issue than making the magistrate judge actually do his damn job, right? But so that's a separate presumably issue. They had to go to a grand jury, and we're going to talk about that because it looks like that's what they did, due to the fact that others have been arrested as well. And again, it seems as if they actually did get it done through a grand jury. And we're going to talk about it. So without further ado, go ahead and roll the news clip about Don Lemon getting arrested. Take a look.
Alert, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Malusia joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunton and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources.
Thank you.
Confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel. This obviously all in connection with that storming of a church in St. Paul.
You say the debate you're a Democrat? Okay, why you a Democrat? Why you still voting blue? No matter who.
Judges to try to get Don Lemon arrested.
Over two, why you still voting Democrat? Why?
Judge in Minnesota who didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to a judge above him. He didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to an appeals court. They also decided not to sign off for an arrest warrant for him. So there was experts who were predicting that perhaps the feds would go to a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm that Don Lemon was arrested in Los Angeles by federal agents just after midnight Los Angeles time at a hotel. Now, typically, standard procedure with an arrest like this is the defendant will likely make their first court appearance sometime the same day. So there's a chance we may see Don Lemon make his first court appearance in Los Angeles sometime today. But obviously, this is going to grab all sorts of headlines. 3 other protesters from that church storming, have already been arrested, including who the feds say was the organizer of that protest. The woman in the middle there is a school board member in St. Paul, and then the mugshot on the right is an online personality / agitator, if you want to call him that. He's known as the Woke Farmer. Those were the 3 people that the feds had already arrested, but we have confirmed that Don Lemon has now been arrested in Los Angeles in connection with that viral incident. We all saw the video of it that spread and drew widespread condemnation. The feds have been going after these people on FACE Act violations. So this is still breaking news. Once we get more details about the potential charges here, a court appearance, we'll, of course, update our viewers, guys.
Really appreciate it. Of course, if it was a grand jury that did indict him, that's pretty unimpeachable. Bill Melugin, thank you so much.
Yep.
More Fox and Friends.
Yeah. So it looks as if that is what happened, because you have others who were there who claimed that they were recording. They were just doing journalism, right, while violating other people's First Amendment rights. Yeah. They claim that the feds came knocking at their door, and they were told that.
Thank you. Like and subscribe, everybody. Thank you.
Do you want to wear my glasses?
Roll to 1,000.
I wanted to alert the public that agents are at my door right now. They're saying that they were able to go before a grand jury sometime, I guess, in the last 24 hours, and that they have a warrant for my arrest. I've talked to my attorney, and I'm being advised to go with them, I guess, down to Whipple. And my children are here. They're impacted by this. This is all stemming from the fact that
Good morning, Clark. Right, who freed the slaves, right?
Filmed a protest as a member of the media. We are supposed to have our constitutional right of the freedom to film, to be a member of the press. I don't feel like I have my First Amendment right as a member of the press, because now federal agents are at my door arresting me for filming the church protest a few weeks ago. Again, I don't have a long time here, you guys, but I wanted you to know, for me, agents are at my door right now. My attorney has spoken with them. I did send a relative outside to talk to them. They're showing some type of documentation, apparently, that they got an indictment from a grand jury. I knew that I was on a defendant's list. I did not publish it because it was under seal. And so we've done everything that we can to try and abide by, the advice of our attorneys. But right now, you guys, I wanted you to know I'm going to have to hop off here and surrender to agents as a member of the press. I filmed the church protest a few weeks ago, and now I'm being arrested for that. It's hard to understand how we have a constitution, constitutional rights, when you can just be arrested for being a member of the press. We've seen all these violations. All right, you guys, I gotta go. They're knocking.
She's coming right now.
Give me 1 second.
This is absolutely outrageous. A journalist taken into federal custody for doing his job. This statement was posted directly on Don Lemon's official page this morning by his attorney, Abe Lowell. So according to that statement, Don Lemon was taken into federal custody by federal agents in Los Angeles while covering the Grammy Awards. His attorney states that this stems from constitutionally protected journalism related to Lemon's reporting in Minneapolis, and calls it an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment. And let's be very clear here, a government that targets journalists instead of tolerating scrutiny is not acting in the public interest. A government that allows the gross misuse of law enforcement instead of actually following the law is not upholding justice. That is not accountability. That is intimidation. Lowell states that Don Lemon will fight these charges vigorously in court. At this time, charging documents and court filings have not yet been made public. And personally, my message to Don and to every independent journalist trying to get the truth out to the masses is this: do not let intimidation stop the story. Do not let fear prevent people from getting the truth.
Thank you.
This is the good trouble that John Lewis taught us. And good trouble has always been necessary.
Yeah, see, now you heard that. Bad news for all of the journalists, legal observers, domestic terrorists out there in the world, right, who believe that they can enter churches and to stop people from worshiping, exercising their First Amendment rights while claiming to be journalists. Well, I'm just there to record, but at the same time,
Dang, say, where's our hairline? Damn.
Right? You're on camera clearly as a part of the mob, right? In support of the mob, okay? That was not neutral journalism. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But, I just want to read this statement here because Don Lemon actually being arrested suggests that all of them, right? Everybody that was involved probably is going to get arrested. And that there's a lot more going on here than what we know so far. Quote, at my direction, early this morning, federal agents arrested Don Lemon, Traherne Jean Cruz, Georgia Ford, and Jamel Lindell Lundy in connection with the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. More details coming soon. Yeah, so I think that more details are coming, more arrests are coming. This is a huge deal, and it's really bad news for Don Lemon. I'm going to tell you why it's really bad news. The reason why it's really bad news is because we already know how hard it is to get an actual indictment against liberals, right, from a grand jury. Right, especially in a place like Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Good morning, Jason.
I believe it's the reason why they didn't go through that route in the first place because of how difficult it would be. However, despite the woke magistrate judge refusing to charge Don Lemon because there's no probable cause, right? According to him, I already told you guys that another judge said that there is probable cause. Okay, we already know why the magistrate judge refused to do it. Probable cause is not a high standard, right? It's not a super high standard. I think what we saw from Don Lemon, just the video in and of itself of him being there.
Hey, B. Ruth, you don't like my channel, you can go ahead and leave.
Clearly being a part of the protest, right?
If it's trash to you, get out the chat then.
I think that's
or
enough,
stay.
For probable cause, right? I really
don't be hating on me.
So there was a lot of politics going on. But I also believe that because, again, Minneapolis, Minnesota, they're just generally liberal. And if they went before a liberal, grand jury, okay, which right now, at this moment, the Trump administration is not well liked, okay, in that area. Let's keep it 100. Then what that probably means is that the charges are airtight, right? That they have much more evidence against Don Lemon to suggest that he was a part of the conspiracy, okay, rather than just somebody there as a journalist, okay? And I'm not surprised by this because of the fact that
I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not asking nobody on this channel to be a Trump supporter or convert to be a Trump supporter. I'm just sharing information that's out there. That's it. If you like it, stay on. If you don't, it's all good. But enjoy the chat. Happy Monday.
They probably got a lot more evidence after they initially arrested the three people who everybody knows for sure was involved and coordinated the invasion of that church, right? Once they got those three individuals, at that point, they could basically look through records, communication, see exactly what was said between Don Lemon, okay, and that woman. I'm pretty sure that there are communications, okay?
Right.
And those communications probably suggest that, again, Don Lemon was not just there as a journalist. He was there as an actual protester, right? And that's probably what got him. I don't know. I'm just telling you guys that I think there's more evidence against Don Lemon. We just don't know about it yet.
We're learning.
And
that's a good one.
That is probably what led to him actually being indicted, if he was indicted, right? I believe that is the direction that they went in order to make this happen. We don't know for sure yet, but it seems as if that's what they did, okay? So, at this point, I'm happy, right? Even though I want to see Don Lemon prosecuted and found guilty, right? I want to see him found guilty, okay? So it's not over yet, but Pam Bondi finally did something, right? I hope those of you out there who are very critical of Pam Bondi, and rightfully so. Hey, let's give her a small W here. Okay, she actually arrested Don Lemon, right? She actually did it. Now we're going to see a whole bunch of boo-hoo, whine, and cry, right? The liberal tears are coming next, right? And we'll probably be talking about that later today. But just understand, no, you do not have a First Amendment right to invade a church, right? You do not have a First Amendment right to take away somebody else's First Amendment right, okay? I don't understand why is it that this is so hard for people to understand that your rights end where other rights begin, right? Other people's rights exist because your rights are not absolute, right? I don't understand why it's so hard for people to get about this concept, right? Like, for example, when it comes to freedom of religion, you do not have the freedom of religion to participate in human sacrifice. Why is that? It's because
Thank you.
would infringe on somebody else's rights to live, right? And I think everybody intuitively understands that, hey, you don't have a right of freedom of speech that is absolute to the point where you take away somebody else's right to exercise their First Amendment rights, which is freedom of religion, right? They infringe on somebody else's rights. So you cannot claim that that's your right. You don't have a right to infringe on somebody else's rights because your rights stop where other people's rights begin. And people are getting a hard lesson on how rights actually work, okay? Just like with Alex Preddy. His Second Amendment rights, okay, which he has the right to carry. But when an officer feels like his life is in danger because of actions taken by Alex Preddy, confronting the officer, resisting arrest, while exercising his Second Amendment right, then the officer's right of self-defense kicks in, right? That's how it works. Same thing here. You cannot invade a church effectively, taking away somebody else's First Amendment rights of worshiping, okay? Freedom of religion. You can't take that away and then turn around and claim, well, it's my First Amendment right to do that. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And too many people have a childish worldview, and this is why they're shocked that there are adult consequences to their childish behavior, right? Too many people in this country think like children, and they're getting a hard lesson on how the real world actually works. They're getting a hard lesson on how rights actually work, okay? You cannot have liberty without responsibility. Rights plus responsibility is how you get liberty, right? When people have just rights with no responsibility, okay, when it comes to how they exercise those rights, you don't get liberty. You get anarchy and chaos, and that's what you saw in that church, right? That's what you saw in that church. What you saw in that church is what happens when people think that they have rights without any real responsibility on how they exercise those rights.
Right.
But
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
When you have a responsibility to exercise those rights in ways in which you don't infringe on other people's rights, that's how you get liberty. And what you're seeing with Don Lemon right now being arrested is justice. So let's just hope and pray that these charges stick, and that Don Lemon is found guilty in the court of law, and that he is put in jail and sent to prison for a long, long, long time. And hopefully that will be a lesson to anybody, any left-wing lunatic who's thinking about invading a church, that you probably might not want to do that, right? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
It's time for Lefties Losing It. Let's start the week with the ever-reliable Stephen Colbert, a man who was once funny, perhaps decades ago, but has been reduced to a miserable, moaning activist incapable of wit. He's been reduced to this.
Look, Dana, they're trying to portray Border Patrol agents and ICE agents as Gestapo, Nazi, and many other words.
Yes, do not compare ICE or Border Patrol agents to the Nazis. That's an unfair comparison. The Nazis were willing to show their faces.
What type of shit is that?
Well done. ICE and Border Patrol agents are worse than Nazis. How clever and comedic of you. And do seek help before the men in white coats arrive and whisk you away.
Oh yeah, I like Rita. Rita be coming with the receipts.
These agitators,
Rita be cooking.
these brainwashed clowns who think they are heroic freedom fighters defeating the Nazis. Just have a look at this lot, how performative and
Yeah, Rita, she on point.
pathetic this all is. media commentator Megan Murphy nailed it when she said, these people are 100% think they're in a movie, but they're just privileged little nerds who have zero relationship with working class or poor people and have no idea how the real world works. Here. Talk about being out of touch. Let's hear from Lady Gaga, who had a lengthy rant at a concert in Tokyo. She read it out. It wasn't very good. Here's a little of what she had to say.
My heart is aching, thinking about the people, the children, the families all over America who are being mercilessly targeted by ICE. I'm thinking about all of their pain and how their lives are being destroyed right in front of us. I'm also thinking about Minnesota and everyone back at home who is living in so much fear and searching for answers on what we all should do.
Just so divorced from reality. And did you notice the lack of cheers and applause? The Japanese have no time for your empty, vacuous and self-indulgent virtue signaling, Lady Gaga. It blows my mind that she would deliver that idiotic rant in Japan, a country that has zero tolerance for illegal immigration, a country with some of the strictest migration laws anywhere in the world. Now, when the celebs are not cheering on lawless, violent agitators in Minneapolis, they are cheering for
Good morning.
hack Don Lemon.
About an hour and 30 minutes in. I appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe, everybody. Happy Monday. Name is Deunta. Thank you.
Who was arrested for storming a church during Sunday service. That gets you standing ovation in Hollywood. But I'm sure what you're desperate to know right now is what the most chronically wrong woman in Hollywood thinks of the whole Don Lemon saga. A woman who is proof that wisdom does not come with age. Take it away, Hanoi Jane.
Don Lemon is a professional journalist. He and his producer were doing their job. Nothing more, nothing less. And he's been arrested. And they'll make up all kinds of defamatory things to say about him. That's what they're doing. This is how autocrats act. We can't fall for it. We have to speak up. When a red line is crossed like this, we cannot be silent.
Let's bring in Newsweek Senior Editor-at-Large and Article 3 Project Senior Counsel, Josh Hammer. Josh, Jane Fonda says this is authoritarian and a breach of the First Amendment.
So I know Don Lemon. My husband created CNN, and I will fight for their right to speak, which is guaranteed in our Constitution. They arrested the wrong Don.
Josh, what's your response to those pearls of wisdom from Jane Fonda?
Yeah, Rita, I literally can't think of a greater endorsement of Pam Bondi and the DOJ issuing an arrest warrant for Don Lemon than Hanoi Jane herself coming out opposed to it. I mean, what an absolutely mesmerizing endorsement for this current prosecution. Look, this notion that journalists in America have a higher First Amendment protection than most Americans is a common misconception. Look, I am a lawyer. I'm also a journalist. My First Amendment rights are the exact same.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Journalists have no higher or any different degree of First Amendment protection. The First Amendment does indeed protect your right to stand on a public property, stand on a sidewalk, stand in a public square. You can hold up your dumb Ford Foundation, Tide Foundation, stupid open boroughs, George Soros Fund sign, abolish ICE, DHS is fascist, arrest the orange man, whatever. Who gives a crap? You can do that. Here's what you can't do. You can't trespass private property. And even more than that, we have federal statutes on the books that specifically criminalize doing this when it comes to a house of worship. This is back in the good old days, back when there was bipartisan agreement that Speaking of the First Amendment, Hanoi Jane, you know what else is there? Oh, yeah, the free exercise of religion. And back in the 1990s, back when Democrats were still relatively sane, you had the Bill Clinton-led Democrats lead this bipartisan charge to pass the FACE Act, a 1994 statute that specifically criminalizes doing exactly what Don Lemon and his bunch of
Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, everybody. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get it. Like and subscribe, everybody.
Frankly, Rita, we've heard how many times past years this refrain from Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, and the rest of what I used to call the Democrat lawfare complex. How many times do we hear this refrain that no one is above the law? I agree with that statement. No one is above the law. The question is Don Lemon above the law? Pam Bondi and Donald Trump say no. They're totally correct on that.
Well, Hollywood says he is. He's getting standing ovations from Hollywood these days. Ridiculous stuff. We've got another Democrat media narrative that has come undone, Josh, by facts and footage.
There you go. His name is Josh.
Characterization of Alex Pretty, who was shot dead in a scuffle with federal officers in Minneapolis. We had CNN claim this man was perfect. They use that word, perfect man, what you want your son to grow up to be, who you want your daughter to marry. And every Democrat politician has pushed that narrative, but then footage emerged of his antics at other recent violent protests. Let's have a look at this viral clip of Democrat Elizabeth Warren talking about Pretty with that unearthed footage.
Pocahontas.
Caring for people was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure.
As is often the case with these manufactured outrages, the truth is kind of lost in the hysteria. But I wonder how many are reassessing the perception of what happened with footage like that.
Yeah, nothing says composure like the video that we just saw. Like literally kicking a federal vehicle, of yelling, spitting.
You're right. How Pocahontas still in office? That's a funny one.
Elizabeth Warren. Nothing says composure, Pocahontas, like that video right there. I mean, how many times does the left do this? Where they find one? I think back to Kilmar Rego Garcia, this MS-13 connected human trafficker, this sex offender, the Maryland man, the quintessential Maryland man there. He's out there in a white T-shirt mowing his lawn there. That's who you should be when you grow up there. You should be the Maryland man, Kilmar Rego Garcia. You should be Alex Pretty, who's full of composure there. Heck, why don't you go back to the Washington Post from about 7 or 8 years ago? Why don't we try to be an austere religious...
Yeah, they're real quiet now.
Like or al-Baghdadi.
They're quiet.
I mean, the hits just keep on coming right there. But look, we're being a little tongue-in-cheek here. Look, the reality is a young man died. And he died because, it is very simple.
And the sad thing about it is, if I heard it right, the relatives asked him not to go to the protest, I think both times, and he went anyway. Y'all see the video. That man was not peaceful at all. He was an asshole. He should have stayed at home. Or if he's a nurse, take care of some patients.
Died because Democrats did not play along. If Tim Walz and Jacob Fry and Ilhan Omar and Keith Ellis and the rest of the Minnesota Democrats had just said, okay, you know what? Federal law is supreme.
Tech support. What's up?
We understand the Constitution. Come in here, arrest criminals. If they had done that, Rita, none of this would have happened. The reason that Renee Good and the reason that Alex Pretty are dead is because they ginned up these people into demagogic fits of rage. It's essentially kind of taken the Hamas martyrdom complex and taking it to the American home front. They're trying to use these people as martyrs. It's like death pornography, really. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. And again, a young man lost his life, someone who I didn't agree with politically, obviously, but it's still tragic. He had siblings, parents, et cetera, there. And ultimately, really, the blood really, in this case, is on the hands, I think, of Tim Walz, Keith Ellison, and these demagogues who riled up people like Alex Pretty.
And it's funny that this is happening in Minneapolis when ICE is operating throughout the country, and they are deporting a lot more people from places like Texas than Minnesota, and we're not seeing those issues there because law enforcement is cooperating instead of obstructing. And of course, Minneapolis and Minnesota, the entire state of Minnesota has been caught up in an unprecedented fraud scandal. And We're not talking about that anymore, are we, Josh? The focus is entirely on ICE and these protests. Now, we've seen more healthcare professionals fired for posting unhinged rants online, threatening to harm political opponents.
Well, his own sister told him, "Don't do it, don't go."
Domestic terrorism. Among the
She said he's an
latest to be
asshole
sacked
too.
is Melinda Cook, a nurse anaesthetist from Virginia, who was fired because she posted videos of herself encouraging medical professionals to drug ICE agents with paralytic meds. And she also advised non-medical staff to do their bit to deliberately injure ICE agents.
Get on Tinder, get on Hinge, find these guys. They're around. They're an ICE agent, bring some X-Lax and put it in their drinks.
What the? So anybody on the right does this to the people on the left? That's crazy. The left always doing something bogus. They marked Charlie Kirk. All he was doing was just y'all Democrats and lefties, y'all bogus. When Charlie Kirk got shot, y'all dressed like him for Halloween with the white t-shirt on, blood stains, and pointing at the neck. Nobody on the right is making fun of Megan Good or Alex Petty. We just saying they should have stayed at home. We're not out here making fun of them, marking them. But you guys, Democrats and lefties, all y'all do is mark and make fun, and y'all fighting for criminals. It makes no sense. Like and subscribe.
Get them sick.
Get them sick, Josh. That's what she said. There appears to be a disproportionate number of sick, dangerously ideological people in the medical profession. And that's scary. These videos of nurses or others in the medical profession.
Thank you. Let's get to 1,000.
Really
1,000 subscribers.
Threatening
Why not?
stuff online are becoming all too common.
Yeah, someone apparently didn't read about the Hippocratic Oath when she went to nursing school, I suppose, right? I mean, the first rule, of course, medicine is famously to do no harm. I guess unless you're a leftist. I guess if you're a leftist, then the first rule sometimes actually is do harm. If you're a leftist, maybe the very first rule actually is to cheer on the assassination of my late friend Charlie Kirk. If you're a leftist, maybe your first rule is to cheer on the near assassination of Donald J. Trump. If you're a leftist, maybe your first instinct is start naming your babies Luigi after Luigi Mangione, this anarchist who shot dead a father and a husband in cold blood at point blank range simply for being the CEO of a healthcare company there. And now astoundingly, they're going to avoid the death penalty. To me, it's utterly astounding there. I mean, there's something deeply sick. There's something deeply sick in the American leftist mentality. And I think that the media bears a shockingly high part of the blame for this, because they have spent years and years and years communicating this message that their political opposition is not someone to be amicably debated with, but is an existential threat. How many times have we heard this? A threat to democracy, a threat to the rule of law, a threat to the Constitution. They're a threat to all of us there. Take matters into your own hands and do whatever is necessary to make this right there. That's how you end up with videos like this. That's how you end up with all these outrageous elementary school teachers who are having their children read celebrations of Charlie Kirk's murder. It's sick stuff, Rita. And I asked the same question that I've been asking for a long time about the rise of political violence, which is, where are the leaders on the Democrat side of the aisle, these senior statesmen who can look at videos like this and say, enough, this is way too far there? I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen that because probably there's no one capable of giving that speech at this time. It says all you need to know about the state of that party.
Well, when you're characterizing ICE agents as modern-day fascists and Nazis and whipping up that sort of fear and hysteria, you're not going to speak out against this, are you? You're creating more of this. Now let's talk about the Epstein files. A lot of new revelations in the latest Epstein document dump, including this: the convicted pedophile once asked Ken Starr to help discredited TDS-afflicted author Michael Wolff to dig up dirt on President Trump. Josh,
you say Alex died for foreign invaders. How sad, right? At least die for American people. You died for somebody who don't even care about you, don't even know you. And I'm pretty sure that guy he died for was a criminal. So that's why they was arresting him. That makes no sense.
We learned from previous document releases that back in 2015, Wolff encouraged Jeffrey Epstein to blackmail the then presidential candidate, Donald Trump. The relationship here is fascinating, and Michael Wolff has also said that Jeffrey Epstein believed it was Donald Trump who first alerted law enforcement about what was happening under his roof, and he hated him for that ever since.
Donald Trump famously kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. He literally kicked him out of being a member at the private Mar-a-Lago.
Kicked him out.
After these revelations first came to light. So, Jeffrey Epstein, Rita, my reading of the case for a long time, Jeffrey Epstein held a
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys, man. On the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get it.
Messages that came out.
Let's get it. There's 179 people in the chat. Let's get it, y'all. We can do it.
Michael Cohen here. He was obsessed with trying to make Michael Cohen look good, to bring down Donald Trump there. He was obsessed with bringing down Trump. He hated Donald Trump. And he hated Donald Trump because on a level, it was very personal to him. Jeffrey Epstein, the reasons that are still somewhat unclear to this day, had amassed this astounding Rolodex and was hobnobbing with the rich and the famous and the this and that. And, I mean, you name it, you probably knew them there. And there were very few people who, in the later years of his life, had no tolerance whatsoever, and Donald Trump was one of those individuals there. So, this whole effort that we're seeing from
Yep. Happy Monday. Thank you.
California, various of the
Bless
Democrats
us.
who were trying so hard to try to get Trump by the Epstein files, it's not going to work. I mean, you're much likely going to be hoisted on your own petard when it comes to Bill Clinton, who was famously a heck of a lot closer to Jeffrey Epstein than Donald Trump was himself.
Well, he did have that infamous painting of Bill Clinton hanging at his main property in New York. I mean, that in itself, my gosh, I think there's a lot more for us to learn about that. And among some of the more notable news items to come from this latest document dump is the claim that the billionaire and philanthropist Bill Gates caught sexually transmitted diseases from Russian girls.
Wow.
And then tried to secretly give his wife antibiotics to cover that up. Jeffrey Epstein.
That's crazy. Bill Gates was on the news all year long about this COVID shit. Now the Epstein files out. You don't hear nothing about Bill Gates until now. But other than that, he's been quiet. Something else. And then he got divorced because he was messing with Epstein. His wife's even said it. So, yeah. It's really Bill Clinton files. Instead of Epstein files, it's Bill Clinton.
Epstein claimed in July 2013 that the Microsoft co-founder asked one of his advisors to provide him with medicine to treat STDs. The allegations have been rejected as completely false by Gates' spokesperson, Josh. But I do recall Melinda Gates saying that
he don't care, just Trump, right? That's crazy.
Jeffrey Epstein was a
Once again, if Trump is corrupt, get his ass out of office if he's corrupt.
Yeah, look, I mean, between Bill Gates and Jeffrey
But so far, I haven't seen anything.
I mean, who's like the less reputable of the two? I mean, who can you possibly believe here, right? I honestly have no idea if this is true or not there. Bill Gates, by the way, he's done something of an under the radar, a bit of a reversal on his signature issue on climate change. But this was really kind of slipped under the radar, Rita. I'm not sure how many people caught this there. He issued a very interesting blog post on his blog in late October saying, you know what? I was actually
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
It's actually not going to end the whole world. Turns out that a lot of us are kind of overstating the damage there. So he's trying to do a bit of a mea culpa on this there. I mean, maybe there's going to be another mea culpa coming when it comes to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein there. Look, I have no idea if Epstein was personally responsible for this divorce between Melinda Gates and Bill Gates, but you know what? It sounds like it kind of fits, honestly. I mean, they got divorced there. As you correctly know, Melinda said that Bill Gates was involved in all sorts of questionable sketchy behavior there. And who's the king of sketchy behavior? Oh, yeah, Jeffrey Epstein there, a guy who was very much in Bill Gates' Rolodex. So it's kind of like, if the shoe fits, maybe there's something there. But as I said, these are two absolute dirtbags. So, I mean, take your pick as to who to believe, I guess.
But I do repeat that Bill Gates, through a spokesperson, has said all these allegations are completely false. Josh Hammer, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you guys for being with me. We're an hour and 40 minutes in. Thank you guys. Like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. Like I said, it's Lefty Losing Monday. Lefty's losing it Monday. Let's continue.
Yeah, we got another episode of Lefty's Losing It, as I'm sure.
Hey, I better not find out any of my family members are working for ICE because I will dox you. I will dox you. So, if you're out there, you're related to me and you work for ICE, you better hope I don't find out, because I'm gonna dox you.
Yeah, we got another episode of Lefties Losing It, as I'm sure you could have guessed from the title and the thumbnail. But man, goodness gracious, I feel bad for anybody that has her as a family member. My goodness. Let's keep it rolling, though. Let's keep it rolling.
So should we start normalizing asking people that are providing us services, like our dentists, our nurses, anyone that provides a service to us, our servers at a restaurant, just exactly who they voted for, and then let that be the determining factor of whether or not we do business.
Right, they keep on showing all the evidence of Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, and everybody else. So where's your evidence if Trump is guilty? Where's your evidence at? Because right now, they had it over 10 years. Bill Clinton, Obama, and all of them had it. So why now? Come on, y'all. That's once again, Trump bogus, get his ass out of office real fast. Pray for the victims, y'all. Pray for the victims. Y'all ain't not mentioned about Laken Riley. She got raped by an immigrant. Nobody mentioned about her name or saying her name. Come on, y'all. Let's do better as people. Like and subscribe.
Business with them, like just shunning people, shun them from our society. Just a thought.
You know what's funny about this? And I've said this before. These liberals are so brainwashed that they think that they are the majority. They have forgotten that they just lost an election. Lost every single swing state and lost the popular vote. They think they are the majority. So if anything, they're just going to shun themselves from society. Oh, man. Uncle Trump's never wrong. The silent majority. The silent majority. Just saying. Let's keep it rolling.
Hey, what are you telling your kids about white privilege?
Oh,
For real. Seriously, I ask now. Like, it's not something that I learned.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Anyone really talked
Thank you.
about when I was growing up. So, what are we telling our kids now? Just wanted you to think about it. I'm thinking about it. Let me know what you're doing. I have some thoughts.
I would be in chains if it wasn't for the liberals. The liberals are the reason why they... Y'all funny.
Your parents didn't do it because they weren't racist like you are. But why do these white liberals think that they have some type of privilege over me simply because of the color of my skin?
Right.
I probably live a hell of a better life than they do.
Thank you,
Actually, I know
guys.
So what are they talking about? I got my white privilege. Privilege over what?
Yep.
Explain that one to me. Explain it to me. My goodness, man. My goodness. I'm telling you, white liberals are the most racist people on this planet. They are. They are. It's crazy.
If the government wants to use biowarfare on us, we can use it on them too. Do not let your pee go to waste. Do not let your tampons go to waste. Do not let that blood that you collect
That's
in your
cool.
disc.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you.
If you're on that next level of nasty, don't let your shit go to waste.
What disc was she talking about? Ladies, y'all gotta let me. What disc? What?
What?
The blood you have on a disc, like on a pad? Is that what y'all call pads? Disc? Tampons? Obviously, I know what tampons and pads are, but what's a disc? Ain't that what you said? The blood you collect on a disc?
Waste. In your disc, collect in your disc, let that blood that you collect in your disc.
Yeah, in your disc. What is that? Ladies, I need some education here. I need to be informed. I done heard of tampons, I done heard of pads, right? But I ain't never heard of a disc. What the is that? Y'all let me know. Y'all carrying around disc in y'all panties now? Just like collects blood in like a cup or something? Like, I don't know.
Ladies, let me know. Let me know, please. I don't know what that was, but yeah, that is gross. So don't let your poop go to waste. These people are sick. But of course, they are losing it.
It is the duty of all moral people to oppose evil. So in response to your comment, watch us.
Thank you, guys.
You cannot stop ICE.
Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for staying with me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, he's going to get himself hurt. And it's going to be unfortunate when it happens. You know, I don't want to see that, obviously. Right? Just want to make that clear. But if you think you're going to go out and you're going to stop ICE agents, like, this is just not happening. It's not happening. And it's unfortunate that these people have been brainwashed to think that they need to go out here and try to stop these ICE agents when the people that have encouraged them to do so aren't out there with them doing the exact same things.
None out there at all.
The of the world, the Hakeem Jeffries, right? All of these folks, the Elizabeth
Thank
Warrens,
you guys.
you don't
Thank
see
you.
them out pushing ICE, putting their finger in ICE's face, kicking ICE vehicles. You don't see these politicians out there doing it, but they're encouraging their voting base to go out there and do it, and they're getting themselves.
Thank you, Lou.
It's crazy to watch. Like these people don't realize
Thank you, Gonzo.
that they are pawns. That they're pawns for the Democrat Party.
Thank you,
Sending them out
Blondie Dawn.
there to just get hurt and have whatever happened to them, so that they have the next, headline. It's crazy, man. It's crazy and sad. Very, very sad.
The second I see a fat creator say anything about weight loss, I'm gone. I'm sorry.
What the?
Get fatter. Get fatter.
I don't even know what to say now, bro. I really don't. I mean,
hey, we gotta vote, people. We gotta vote for common sense, man. I heard about Texas winning a seat or whatever. We gotta get out there and vote, people. The Democrats are gonna vote blue no matter who. We gotta do better as voters, as common sense. It's not just about MAGA. It's about common sense, man. Because once Trump leaves, we gotta keep this MAGA going and beyond, for real. This is crazy.
Once again, lefties losing it, though.
And make sure y'all document them that are.
Now we're not cooked, Joe.
Because when it comes time, they get no peace. They get no acceptance. They don't get to turn their head and pretend they weren't supporting this.
Well, that's interesting. So, are you going to round us up and throw us in gas chambers or something? Like the guy that you accuse us of being and supporting, but it sounds like you plan on doing what he actually did. It's crazy how that works, ain't it? It's crazy. These liberals are out here, Republicans are Nazis. Trump is Hitler. But then they're talking about, hey, let's make sure we jot down all of their information. Let's make sure we remember their faces. Let's make sure that we round these folks up, right? Because I played a clip of a chick saying that we gonna round these folks up. We're gonna round all of them up. We're not gonna let them just walk back into society. Like what? But they call us the Nazis. How does that make any type of sense?
It doesn't.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say they are most definitely losing it. They got some screws loose. That's for sure. That's for sure. We'll make this the last clip.
I am no lame dog. I am no blind sheep, and I will bend no knee to no tyrant. And I would rather see America burn down than this terroristic administration succeed.
Oh, I gotta hear that one more time.
I am no lame dog. I am no blind sheep, and I will bend no knee to no tyrant. And I would rather see America burn down than this terroristic administration succeed.
That's stupid.
So you don't want to. So you hate America because you don't want to see America succeed.
Right, Jason.
Because of who's at the
We
helm.
got this.
You don't want to see America succeed. So you hate America. Thanks. great to know. I mean, we already knew it, but now you're saying it out loud. And second, you don't want to bend the knee to an authoritarian. So why did you bend the knee to the Joe Biden administration when they were forcing certain people to get the splooge put in their arm?
The jab.
It was people like this, people on the left, who were shaming individuals for not wanting to get the splooge in their arm. But then they'll come out here and they'll scream, "My body, my choice." The left confuses me more.
Right, the left think about the short term. We think about long term. It's a big difference.
More and more on a daily basis. Like, you don't want to bow down to a tyrant, but you bowed down to the Biden administration when they told you to put the splooge in your arm. And you called everybody else a threat to society, right? Anti-vaxxers. When we
Right, Vance or Rubio, right.
put in. Ridiculed individuals, shamed people, clapped when people got fired.
Right, like and
lost their
subscribe, everybody.
jobs
Thank you.
because they didn't want to get the splooge. But then, on the other hand, you'll come out and you'll scream and you'll protest "My body, my choice." Well, isn't it our bodies, our choice when it comes to shots too? It's my body, my choice. Oh, man. Goodness gracious. Yeah. I'm glad they're admitting it now, though. Now we know for sure. Anyway, thanks for tuning in as always.
Right now, we're seeing a giant cultural shift when it comes to politics. What we're seeing currently is no longer Republican, Democrat. We're no longer seeing that. What we're starting to see currently at this present time is basically Americans and the left. And I know there's going to be a group of people on the left that don't want to hear that. They're going to sit here. They're going to call me right wing. They're going to call me a bunch of. But the problem is, you've pushed people like myself that are independent and registered voters so far away that we're never even going to look to the left again. Ever again. It would take a fantasy. It would take a pipe dream in order for me to ever even look in the left direction again. You guys have done everything you can to bastardize anything normal in this country. You've bastardized people having kids. You've bastardized straight couples. You've bastardized men and women wanting to stay in their separate bathrooms.
Like and subscribe, everybody. 96 people in the chat. Like and subscribe, everybody. I'm giving you guys facts and truth.
You've bastardized people trying to keep sexual education away from children. What the going on with the left, bro? You've bastardized us wanting to keep the country safe. You've bastardized people being patriotic. You've bastardized people waving the American flag. You've bastardized being an American. How can I...
So if you guys are Democrat or leftist, he's a Democrat. What he's saying is a lie? Listen up, listen.
I ever vote in your direction again?
Hey, listen. He made some great points there.
In wanting to stay in their...
Let's play it
right
again.
Now we're seeing a giant culture.
Let's play that again.
When it comes to politics. What we're seeing currently is no longer Republican, Democrat. We're no longer seeing that. What we're starting to see currently at this present time is basically Americans and the left. And I know there's going to be a group of people on the left that don't want to hear that. They're going to sit here. They're going to call me right wing. They're going to call me a bunch of... But the problem is, you've pushed people like myself that are independent and registered voters so far away that we're never even going to look to the left again. Ever again. It would take a fantasy. It would take a pipe dream in order for me to ever even look in the left's direction again. You guys have done everything you can to bastardize anything normal in this country. You've bastardized people having kids. You've bastardized straight couples. You've bastardized men and women wanting to stay in their separate bathrooms. You've bastardized people trying to keep sexual education away from children. What the fuck's going on with the left, bro? You've bastardized us wanting to keep the country safe. You've bastardized people being patriotic. You've bastardized people waving the American flag. You've bastardized being an American. How can I ever vote in your direction again?
Hey, listen. He made some great points there. Some very, very great points. You know, and one of the things that is great about what the left is doing, because I know it can be extremely annoying. I see it every day, right? Is that you have a lot of individuals like the guy you just saw, who were kind of middle of the road, not really left, not necessarily right, but just kind of, floats by the election cycle. But the left has become so far left that they've pushed those individuals right on over
Like
to
and subscribe, everybody.
our
Like and
side, right?
subscribe.
To where
Happy
they're
Monday.
basically
Happy
forced to
Monday.
vote with our side because they ain't voting left because the left has absolutely lost their damn minds. They've gone off the deep end. So they're not voting for them. They're like, well, I don't like all of these policies over here on the right, but at least there's some sane individuals, right? At least the light's on in somebody's home over here. Over there,
So what was the man lying about? I mean, he was cooking. He broke it all down. What's going on with the lefts? He's breaking it all down. What you guys think? Like and subscribe.
I don't even know if the light is on. And nobody's home for sure. So that, like I said, that is one of the great things about what the left is doing is that they're just pushing people further and further away. So when I see it, let them keep losing their minds, doing all this extra stuff, protesting, doing, creating a bunch of nonsense because they're just losing more and more people by the day. Because now they're showing who they actually are. Carry on.
As an immigrant, I'm really sick and tired of you faked and your fake freaking outrage. It's pathetic to me. Because all this energy, all this outrage that all of a sudden you'd have were nowhere to be found when you were seeing 9, 10, and 11-year-old girls showing up at the border pregnant by the smugglers. Zero. When you kept seeing the videos of migrant children being drugged, unconscious at the border, showing up in the hundreds of thousands with nothing but a sticky note with a phone number and a name on their hands, when you saw the constant videos of children.
I remember seeing that video of that little boy that was limp. I didn't even think about the fact that they probably drugged that little boy. I didn't even think about that. I did think it was weird that he was so just kind of like floppy,
Right,
like,
right.
Sleepy, but they're not usually like that, floppy. That would all make sense. Disgusting. Then a little girl that was sitting there pregnant. What the?
Crazy.
Death penalty. Whoever did it, death penalty. No questions asked. It's crazy, man. Crazy. Got little kids just showing up with a sticky note. A sticky note. And their parents. Whoever's these kids' parents deserve some prison time as well. Like, what the? I understand you're living in some bad conditions and you want your kids to live better, but you're sending them with criminals who are doing some disgusting things to them. At least with you, nobody's, getting them pregnant. All right? Yeah, you may not live in the greatest conditions in the world. We understand that. We get that. But at least nobody's touching them. You just sending your kids off to walk with some strangers. You don't know where they going, if they gonna make it, bro. That's crazy. Prison for life. Prison for life. For life. Sending your kids off with some drug dealers and smugglers. Like, come on, bro. Prison for life.
Being trafficked at the border, you said nothing. And if that wasn't bad enough, you guys probably celebrated, or at the very least sat your ass down and said nothing when you saw the caravans of illegal immigrants barging into the country, carrying child rapists, murderers, disgusting people. God knows the amount of evil, disgusting people that barged in unvetted because you sat down and said nothing. So you see all that fake empathy, all that fake compassion that you claim to have for our immigrant communities, for our Latino communities, for our minority communities, you can stick that wherever the hell you want, because I don't believe that comes out of your mouth. Because where do you think Hernan Cortez Valencia was getting dropped off? Where do you think he committed this crime? Oh, you think he lived near Mark Ruffalo? You think he lived there, or you think he was getting dropped off in our community? Raping our children. Abusing our...
Says convicted of SA in sodomy of girl under age 13. Yeah! Procuring the child. Come on, bro. Bro, what?
Sorry about that.
Illegal migrant predators are living. Or you think he was getting dropped off in our community?
Dealers and smugglers. Like, come on, bro. Prison for life.
Being trafficked at the border, you said nothing. And if that wasn't bad enough, you guys probably celebrated, or at the very least sat your ass down and said nothing when you saw the caravans of illegal immigrants barging into the country, carrying child rapists, murderers, disgusting people. God knows the amount of evil, disgusting people that barged in unvetted because you sat down and said nothing. So you see all that fake empathy, all that fake compassion that you claim to have for our immigrant communities, for our Latino communities, for our minority communities, you can stick that wherever the hell you want, because I don't believe that comes out of your mouth. Because where do you think Hernan Cortez Valencia was getting dropped off? Where do you think he committed this crime? Oh, you think he lived near Mark Ruffalo? You think he lived there, or you think he was getting dropped off in our community? Raping our children. Abusing our...
Says convicted of SA in sodomy of girl under age 13. Yeah! Procuring the child. Come on, bro.
And those Democrats and lefty out there protesting for this son of a bitch right here. Come on, y'all. Stop watching The View.
Bro, what? Death penalty. You ain't going back to your country, bro. I mean, you can go back to your country, but you're going back in a box.
Nasty bastard.
Yeah. A box. A tiny one at that. Mm-hmm. You ain't going back home. I guess technically you would be home. You'd be in dry form. I'll say that. What? That is crazy. That is crazy. No tolerance for this, man. No tolerance.
Abusing our people. Where do you think they live? Where do you think these predators, illegal migrant predators, are living when they get picked up by ICE? Where do you think they live? With Billie Eilish? So you really did care about immigrants, our Latino communities, our people. You will be celebrating every time ICE comes into your neighborhood to pick these people up. But you don't. You don't give it about our communities. You don't.
Shout out to Patriotic Latina, because she was speaking some facts there. The Democrat Party only cares when or Democrat voters only care when the Democrat Party tells them to. They cared about Renee Good and Alex Pretty losing their lives, but they never cared about Jocelyn Hungary. Right? Innocent little girl. Innocent. Right? They didn't care about that. Not a single people. As a matter of fact, Democrat politicians couldn't even stand up and clap and acknowledge, her name being her being named.
Right. 2 hours and 14 minutes in. I thank you guys for staying with me. Appreciate it. But yeah, I live in Illinois, man. Blue state. Sad. I was a Democrat, but I vote Republican now. Yep. Let's continue.
But now, all of a sudden, oh my goodness, I was pretty Renee Good. Oh!
Let's get to 1,000. Carry on.
So I was a Democrat for over a decade, and then when I moved to Portland, people like this, actually what woke me up was they started saying that there was this white supremacist, right? He's this white supremacist. I look him up, and he's a gay Asian guy.
She never sleeps. Thank you. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe.
And they were mad because
yeah, with my channel, when I go live, I try to keep everything, all the videos related to the same subject. I don't try to just go randomly throw anything out there to you guys. I try to keep the subject lined up with it is. Common sense. Thank you.
because they were committing crimes and he was filming them. And that's about the time I started asking what I was doing hanging out with people on the far left. Now, I was a vegan for many years afterwards. I participated in many environmental, many vegan activists, all kinds of protests across the nation for many more years after I left the left. But this sort of radicalization on the left is the reason why Donald Trump won the election this past year. I know it, you know it, and I think that they know it. That's why they act this way, and that's why they hide their faces. They themselves cannot even stomach being tied to their own views. That's why they act this way. I've been here for less than 2 hours, and I have witnessed so much childish behavior from these people. It is nothing but juvenile, toddler outlash. It's all it is. I mean, they're just here to throw a fit.
I do long form videos as well, shorts.
See what I mean? Their antics are so over the top that they're waking people up to who they really are. She admitted, hey, I was one of them. And they called a gay Asian guy a white supremacist. And I was like, wait.
So you can't subscribe? Why not?
Man, oh man. My goodness. My goodness. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. I want to play this last clip for y'all because I found it quite interesting as well. Now, it is in Spanish.
Okay, Ric Flair. Okay.
There are subtitles. So you're going to have to read what's at the bottom here. And I may pause it. Matter of fact, I will pause it and read along with y'all. All right? Or where, it goes by a little too fast, I'll pause it. Check it out.
Thank you. Let's get to 1,000.
Ellos no te están defendiendo a ti, te están utilizando. Lo que está pasando en Minneapolis no es por amor al inmigrante, es política.
Thank you so much.
Como bandera.
Name is Deunta.
It's political. It's using your pain as, I believe, using your pain as a banner. All right? So he's basically saying, wake up. They are not defending you. He's talking about illegals in this country. Okay? They're not defending you. He's talking about the Democrats, obviously. They are using you. What's happening in Minneapolis is not out of love for immigrants. It's politics, using your pain as a banner.
Ayer fue Palestina, también fue.
Today it's immigration. Yesterday it was Palestine. Before that, Venezuela. Matter of fact, I will just read it because this might be going by a little fast, and I don't want to put it in slow-mo because then the voice gets really weird. Before it was Before that, Venezuela. But it's always the same people.
Right, Jason.
The same protesters financed by the same. Hold on. Financed by the same interest, just changing flags. If these people
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. I don't know what's going on, but thank you.
They would be protesting for real solutions. Like one proposed by
Thank you, Rick Slater. Thank you.
Elvira Salazar.
Shout out to Rick Slater. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Blessings, man. Humble and blessings. Small content creator. I'm going to say the same all the time. I'm going to keep it real. I'm learning from you guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Rick Slater. Thank you so much, man.
With her dignity plan, and I'll talk about the dignity plan here in a second. We'll get back to that. Understand this.
Thank you. I just got monetized like January 27th, so I thank you, man. I just got monetized. Appreciate it.
Understand this. They are not helping you. They are actually making things worse for you as an immigrant in the United States.
I will.
Honestly, I'm fed up with seeing how we are used, how they look down on us condescendingly.
Congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate it. You've been with me for a while too. Thank you.
Stupid because we fall so easily for their narratives.
Yeah, you've been with me for a while. Thank you.
But you know what? The worst part is, by believing them, you confirm exactly what they think about us. Don't be a political pawn. Think, please, get informed, defend our own interests, not the agenda of people who have nothing to do with you. Understand? Hold on.
Yeah, Democrats.
My mouse here. Understand it already. This is not about you. Not the agenda of people who have nothing to do with you. It's a political agenda. They are using you. Please wake up. So yeah.
Entiéndelo, ellos no te están ayudando.
You heard that. Well, yeah, you heard that. So he's calling the Democrat Party out. Like, yo, they're using us as political pawns. Wake up, people. Wake up. This ain't about you. This ain't about you. This is about the Democrat Party trying to regain power. And they always move the goalposts for one point is BLM, the next point is Venezuela, the next point is Palestine. Now it's illegal immigrants. They're just trying to gain political points so they can regain power. And back to the dignity plan from Maria Salazar. So basically, she proposed a plan, and she is a Republican, by the way, out of Florida, if I remember correctly. She proposed a plan that is coined the dignity plan. Now, this was last year that she proposed it. I don't think it really went anywhere. But what she was proposing was a plan where if you're an illegal and you've been in America more than 5 years, you can earn a pathway to citizenship. Now, you're not going to qualify for any government assistance. You don't get any welfare. You don't get any food stamp. No food stamps, no Section 8, no none of that. You don't get any of that. You're going to pay a fine of $7,000, $1,000 a year. Okay? It's broken down over 7 years. There was something else. I can't remember now. There was something else. But yeah. You pay a fine. Oh, geez. Now I'm forgetting. It's like the harder I think about it, the further like the memory, because I went and looked it up. The further the memory fades from me. Let me see if I can pull that back up, because I was watching or listening to it earlier. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. I know. Hey, listen, these videos are not scripted. Clearly, they are not scripted, all right? These videos, let me see here.
Right, never sleeps, right.
Let's see if I can find
people
that.
dying to come here.
Yeah, here we go.
Moment, and I would like to thank all the members, 20 total.
How you doing, Randy? Thanks for joining the chat.
All right.
Happy Monday.
And Republicans
skip ahead a little
Ship
bit.
to anybody. Dignity is the Solomonic way to fix a 40-year problem. Last week, we in Congress, through the BBB, we allocated $150 billion to secure the southern dairies, fisheries, slaughterhouses, who are undocumented, but who are not criminals. Human beings invisible to the average American, but without them, we will not have food by this Friday. Yes, they broke the law, but someone gave them a job because they...
No problem, Randy.
Well,
No
here
problem.
is the legislation, madam. No more need to choose between amnesty or deportation. Dignity bill is the answer. And here's how it works. If you are undocumented and you have been in the country for more than 5 years, you do not have a criminal record. You're working and paying taxes. You can come out of the shadows with no fear and apply for the dignity status. That means they will pay you
Yeah, I see you, Randy. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, thank you, Randy. Yep, I see your comment. I'm right here with you guys.
Over 7 years, by their own health insurance with no access to any federal programs, and contribute 1% of their salary to the United States Treasury. That is $50 billion plus. Just do
1% of the salary. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
The math. In return, they will never be deported. They will be able to go home for Christmas or to go bury their...
All right, so there's the basis of the plan. I'm sure there's some more intricacies involved in there, but there's the basis of it. Now, I have a problem with it. I don't necessarily like it. I think it needs to be longer than 5 years, and it's a one-time thing. It's a one-time thing. I think it should be 10 years. If you've been here for 10 years or more, right? Maybe 15. Maybe I'll go 15. Being here for 15 years or more, meaning like you came here as a child via your parents, you can apply. And it's a one-time thing. It's right here, right now. It's not like 2 years later. Oh, yeah, I've been here for 15 years now. Like, nope, get out. Bye. See ya. It's a one-time thing. If you've been here for 15 years, you need to contribute 1%, right? You pay a fine. 7,000 is not enough for me. 7,000 ain't enough. I'm gonna need about 30,000, right? Pay a fine of up to $30,000. We'll give you. I don't know. I gotta do some quick math. Let's see. Yeah, I think we could do 10 years. We could do 10 years. That's not crazy. 3K. So it hurts, right? It stings, okay, but it's not gonna drown you. You're gonna have to work a little. You're gonna have to work a little overtime.
As long as you subscribe to my channel, you good to go, Randy. As long as you subscribe to my channel.
But that's what we want. We want hard workers, right? So 30,000 over the course of 10 years. 1% of your salary to the Treasury, okay? And maybe we can start talking. What do y'all think? I think I'd be willing to do that. 15 years, 30K.
Thank you for subscribing. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I'd have to look at the numbers on how much.
Thanks for the likes. Thanks for subscribing. Thank you.
And the 1%, what those numbers will be combined. Because I may even want to distribute that money to American citizens. Like people who were born Americans, right? May want to distribute that, depending on how much it is. If it's something insignificant, you get $2. Of course not. But if it's something significant, you might want to dish that out. But we'll see. Y'all let me know what you think about it. Stay safe out there. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
I'm out.
Hope you guys like the conservative twins, the Hodge twins. Let's get some little laughter going on. Once again, Lefty losing it Monday. Let's continue.
This is Kathy Griffin, the comedian that held up a severed head of Donald Trump. Well, she's got a message for other far-left idiots like her, what they should do when it comes to MAGA supporters. Check this video out.
Those of you that are awake, that see what's going on, what do you think the solution is? I think the murder of Renee Good, the murder of Alex Preddy, putting children on planes and taking them to detention centers, which are really concentration camps. Call it what it is.
This lady is nuts. Concentration camps? Everybody keeps bringing up this 5-year-old boy. Why did they take the 5-year-old boy into custody?
Hey, Rand, they got a whole YouTube channel page. They do shorts, video, longs, all of them.
His dad took off running because he's an illegal immigrant. The family members of the little boy, they don't want to even take him into custody. So what are we going to have to do? ICE is going to have to hold that kid till they figure out what they're going to be able to do. And unfortunately, a lot of kids in our country, if they're here illegally, they have to be deported with their parents, even if they are American citizens. Yeah. If we don't have anybody to watch him, he has to go with the parents. And that's why they come here and have the kid here in this country. They call them anchor babies. Yeah. But when you say Renee Good and Preddy were murdered, I mean, clearly Renee Good, that was a justified homicide. Personally, I don't think he should have shot her. Right? I don't think so. I don't think he should have been in front of the vehicle. Yeah. And the second shooting with Preddy, that was a tragedy. It was a horrible mistake. Too wrong. I mean, it was just a perfect scenario for something bad to happen because of what people are pushing on the left from your politicians, from people like her, from other activists and influencers. Y'all fueled all of this. Yeah. Because of nuts like you is why they're out there. Those deaths were actually self-inflicted. They were.
Concentration camps in the United States of America in 2026. So take that in, and I know you don't want to participate in something radical. I don't either. I wish I could just go on the road and do my funny stories about celebrities or making fun of politicians. But
you think those are funny stories? You think her comedy is actually funny? You know what's funny? She's been talking the whole time. Her face has not moved, not one time. That's crazy.
I not even have to acknowledge this, but it is happening all around you. It's happening around you. I live in Los Angeles. It's happening at targeted places in Los Angeles. And I think it's time to talk to the neighbors in real life. It's time to talk to your neighbors, find out if they're MAGA or not. Sorry, but we have to know who's on our team and start to plan.
What are you going to plan, Kathy? Start to plan. Find out who MAGA is and start to plan. Hey, what are you saying? What are you planning? Are you thinking about opening up MAGA concentration camps? Women, man, I've said this a million times. I know y'all get tired of me saying it. But there's a special evil in a liberal woman. I don't even consider these people liberal. They're progressive. Yeah. These people are not well at all. Yeah.
Is there a way we can do something as a community? When I hear from my followers in Minnesota, they describe a very sophisticated channel of a system of things that they do to help one another. And they use encrypted apps. And like I said, everyone has whistles and honks their horn, but they organize in small groups. And they've told me that they learned this from the George Floyd incident because George Floyd was murdered 20 blocks away from these other murders, roughly. And so they said they learned a lot from that experience. So I'm just telling you guys, live your life, but be conscious of this. And if you're silent, you're complicit. Sorry, I know I'm being a judgy bitch, but that's how I feel.
Okay, so because you're saying and you don't take part in their riots, you're complicit. You know what's funny? You got whistles. You got encrypted apps. You got horns. And they are going to do absolutely nothing for you but waste your time. Like back in the day when people protest, you protest for a reason. And it was smartly done. And it's smartly done and it was effective. You out there standing on the street blowing them horns, blowing them whistles, causing chaos, it's not going to change absolutely anything. And it's actually getting people killed. Yeah. Because you're throwing these armed law enforcement officers around chaotic situations, violent people, and tragedies will happen. Y'all actually getting these people killed. Yeah. Yeah, I know these agents pulled the trigger But man, y'all are the cause of these people's death. If y'all want to protest, you need to go back in time and study history. Look at the civil rights era, Rosa Parks. Yeah. Right? Why are you taking notes from the George Floyd riots? Yeah, blacks boycotted the bus and transit, right? Because they had to get up when a white man got on the bus. Yeah. So you know what? I'm tired of this. I just walk to work. So the bus company lost a lot of money. Guess what? That's an effective protest. Because guess what? They allowed blacks to come back on the bus and sit wherever they want. If you out there blowing whistles, blowing horns, causing chaos, calling people names, spitting on people, obstructing ICE from doing their job,
it's a big difference.
It's going to change absolutely nothing. Y'all are actually protesting law enforcement from doing their job. No rational human being would do that or condone that. They're protesting to keep illegal immigrants in the country. People that don't even care about you, don't even care about our immigration laws. They're criminals, and y'all standing up for them. Well, yeah, what I noticed about these progressive women, they all have a bunch of cats or some dogs. They just have a bunch of pets, right? But there's no man around. Yeah, she got a wig back there. How narcissistic is that, Kevin? Yeah, you're a problem. If you're that age and you're single, you have no kids, you just got a couple pets, and you got a wig behind you, and your face don't move. Tells me you're a textbook narcissist. You only care about yourself and your shallow views. So this is a production. She got a lapel mic on. She probably cleaned up her house. Yeah, she got the dogs there as props to make her look normal. Yeah. You look nuts. Kathy Griffin. Just let's find out who's MAGA. Let's start planning and plotting. Yeah, that sounds evil as hell.
It is.
What do you think she meant by that? I don't know, kid. She's so stupid. I don't even think she understands it. Some people could make the argument that she's, there's a call to violence, but they're too stupid for that. How old is Kathy Griffin?
Too old.
She might have some cognitive decline. You know what I mean? Yeah. You looking it up? Hey, Siri, how old is Kathy Griffin? They're a comedian.
Congratulations.
65. Damn, she that old? Got the face of a 20-year-old. And so she got the face of a 20-year-old. That face doesn't move. Slick and shiny and tight. That's why when she blinks, only one eye closes. Man, liberal, progressive women, man. Y'all are far more dangerous. One progressive woman
funny.
is about as dangerous as 10,000 ICE agents. That's how dangerous y'all are.
I learned that voter ID laws racist.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Excuse me. I learned that white liberals think voter ID laws are racist.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote? Definitely.
Now, it's crazy enough that voter ID laws are racist, right?
Because they're less likely to have state ID.
Because black people are less likely to have state IDs. Now, I would like to make a healthy disclaimer. Lots of black people do not think that I can speak for black folks. Because even though both my parents are black, I lack a certain amount of melanin in my skin. And colorism is alive and well in the black community. And if you don't know, now you know. But as a fair-skinned black man, I could be in the in club if I would simply pander. But if I don't think with the hive mind of Negroes, I'm not part of the club. You see, we have a saying.
Okay.
The dumbest
Anybody
in
knows
our
that
community have a saying. All skin folk ain't kin folk. Which literally translates to, if you don't think like the rest of us, you're not one of us. Especially when the hive mind thought keeps us on the plantation. You have to think like us or you're not one of us. How dare you say we're responsible for who we are in 2025, 2026? You see, you people have zero respect for the 60s. I'm obsessed with that time period. Before the 60s, black people were literally less than
Yes.
in this country. Legally. I'm not talking about the system you think holds us back today. I'm talking about legally. We were less than. Do y'all honestly think times have not changed since the 60s? There were colored toilets, for Christ's sake. Y'all have zero respect for what our grandfathers and great-grandfathers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers did. All of that damn marching, the coordinated boycotts. You know, when black people were peacefully protesting and assembling as per the Constitution, and they were getting fire hosed and stuff, that was actual injustice. Inciting a riot and then getting locked up is not injustice.
Because they're less likely to have state ID.
Also, your racism is in the wrong place. If you think black people are persecuted by the police in modern day and times, you think we're not smart enough to at least have IDs on us? You see how dumb the modern liberal thinks we are? But we have been that dumb for years, voting for a party that don't do shit for us. Voting for them in the 80s didn't make us dumb. In the 90s didn't make us dumb. Even in the 2000s. But going forward, 2020, after we have the history to reflect on, voting for them going forward makes them dumb. And then all this nonsense, all this ubiquitous nonsense, you want this ubiquitous nonsense in your children's ears all
He's
the
cooking.
time?
This is Brendan Jamal. He from Chicago. Chicago as well, but I live in Rockford now, me and my wife. And it's much better out here. But he's cooking.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
So we're less likely to have the kind of IDs that are required. We can't get state ID. We're still in chains. We need Master to come by and unlock the chain so we can drive our cars that we pay our car notes for to the DMV, but we need Master permission.
We need Mauser.
That's why we can't get IDs, boss.
Kinds of IDs that have been
tired, boss.
Or required.
He took off his glasses too, like he was saying some shit.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification. These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get
I can't
identification.
subscribe.
I'm sorry, my boy. What?
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
These types of people.
Y'all see that shit? I don't know how old he is, but if he's a voter and he thinks like that, we are fucking screwed. We got to do better, people.
People don't live in areas where they have access to a DMV. Where do you think black people live, son? How bad do you think the hood is? I stay in the hood right now.
We got to outvote these people, man.
Roses all the time.
We got to vote common sense back into office and keep them in office.
You do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain things.
Now black people can't pay an internet bill. We can't even afford the internet, boss. Won't you please come and free us from the darkness?
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how.
She never
like,
sleeps. I understand. Trust me. I used to live in the west side of Chicago, Madison and Laramie area.
They don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or like they're not informed.
It's a big world, boss. The world is so big, and my little Negro brain can't begin to contemplate anything but this plantation is big enough for me, boss. I got an outhouse over there. I got the place where I cook my foods. We got the places over there where we can dance. We got all the fields that we can play on. The good Lord didn't bless me with Massa in his plantation.
I also think there's a repression of like black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, like you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like Florida, that's a huge population of the like African American.
What?
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, that's state ID.
How she's get IDs? They's giving out IDs to colors now.
Do you carry ID? Yes, I do. Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
Oh, no. Master ain't going like this. Oh, no.
Everyone that I know has an ID.
No, who do you know? Who do you know?
Why would they think we don't have ID?
Because we's colors. We don't have IDs.
That's a lie. Why would they say that? Do you have ID?
Brother being homeless, but got a phone. Right, that's funny, ain't it?
My ID and my friends have their ID, so like, we know what we need to carry around.
Who has this little Negro boy identification?
Everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with.
Oh, these are these New York Negroes that have these IDs.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
Oh, we's free now. We can have IDs.
She never sleeps. She funny. I should get the ID. Uh-oh.
Oh. I gotta send a telegram.
What is this? Some type of trick candy cameras?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
That's a legit ID.
Damn.
I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Where?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that. 120.
Do you know where the DMV is right here?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Do you have a problem getting there if you have to get there? I know these sound like silly questions. And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet. Can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupid.
Never lear.
Even little kids can figure out how to work the internet.
You on the roll, never sleep. You on the roll.
It's getting real serious now for all of you plump supporting racists and fascists.
This is my boy Salty Cracker. He's real funny to me.
Oh my God, I can't believe you want to kick out illegal aliens. That's how Hitler started. Now we're going to unleash upon you. The Utes! Activate the Utes! And here they are, boys. High schools all across Democrat-run hellscapes have been unleashed into the streets to show a unified front against bottle-plus racist fascisms. The youngins, they won't put up with this, boys. What a wild thing. So here you got a whole bunch of high school students.
Wow, you need an ID for everything damn near now.
Grade level, can't write at grade level, and they're very confused. Why is there an X up here in my mats? Oh, it's a racism up here.
Right. You need an ID for a lottery ticket. You know what I'm saying? Shit crazy.
But I'm going to go out there and bash that. No, these students just want any excuse to. Well, I'll show you what they're going to do. Get out of class, one thing, but act a fool. Finna for real, no cap bet. This idiot is.
That's a good question. Why they think so low? That's a good question.
I imagine that's not. Or maybe his dad bought him that laptop.
I guess they call it the white privilege.
Or maybe it's
the liberals think they get white privilege. They say it themselves.
Because he's going to chuck it.
We all privileged. We all alive.
Of other students at the other end of this field. I'd show it to you, but YouTube would say, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you're showing kids' faces, and so you're under arrest." Well, I mean, these are high schoolers, and they're engaging in politics. They're leaving school to go affect. So I can't show. No, I can't show. Oh, okay. So I'll put the links for these two videos down below. Whoa, this is Phoenix 2A. An ICE walkout by a bunch of brainwashed kids with parents who don't give an AF about what they ended up doing in violence. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Yeah. This video is full of these idiots throwing glass bottles. So they're just like, hey, look, there's a group of people over there. I want to throw a glass bottle into that. Okay. And I go, take that, Trump. Leave our illegal alien Mexicans alone. Here's my Chromebook. A few weeks ago in Minneapolis, they got all of the high schoolers and they bust them to the Capitol. And they had to shut their protest down early because all these high school students were fighting all these other idiot high school students. Wow. The youth, boys. The youth. Well, we should definitely listen to them. We should definitely listen to their politics.
True
that was
that. True
definitely
that.
not fed to them by some ugly liberal, some chick with a mustache pretending to be a teacher. So that's that one there. They're just throwing stuff at each other. Again, glass bottles and laptops at each other. There you go. Now we should definitely get political advice from these idiots.
It's all good. Ric Flair. It's all good.
They found it. Stop that Asian hate. Hey, gotta do something about these white supremacists lobbing their anti-ICE agent Asians wearing keffiyehs.
She never sleeps. You're funny. You on the road for real. Man, that's a good question.
I can't believe you guys are robbing me. I marched so hard for George Floyd. I can't breathe. So now they're just out on the now these people are just out on the street. Thugs who walked out of a school to pretend to protest ICE are now robbing older anti-ICE protesters. I can't even read it. That's fantastic. That's how you get more people on my side. That's how you get more people and you keep being real stupid, idiots.
It's sad. It's sad for them. You're
dumb
right.
as hell. That's great.
Definitely
for me.
sad.
That's great for me. That dude right now is racist. There you go. Flaming left douchebag in Los Angeles wearing a keffiyeh just got robbed by all the Utes. He's been calling. If you were like, hey, you know, we got an issue with 13% of the population. Hey, that's racist. That's a racist. What are you, a racism? Now you are a victim of that 13% doing 50% of the violent crimes. They just going through his pockets, by the way. This video is wild. Again, I don't know if I could show this to you. They're on a public street. There are no rules. That's the problem that we have. It's the problem that we have in this information war over here. They're on a public street. There is no expectation of privacy over here. But if I showed this video, because I'm pointing out that black kids, they don't care about Mexican illegal aliens. They're just skipping school.
You saw the video? Okay, I gotta check that out. I didn't see it yet.
Who want to skip school out on the street, you better lock your 7-Elevens up. Oh, that's a racist. Okay, well, that dude just got robbed. That dude, and that's the type of cocksucker over there who'd be flagging this video. Oh my God, I can't believe that he's being mean to black people. You just got robbed by black people. Yeah. Called Scott Adams a racist. If you listen to Scott Adams in this situation, you wouldn't have been robbed. They just going through his pockets, and they laughing at him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you dumb idiot. Going through his pockets, and he's standing there going, I'm on your side. They're not on your side, idiot. Stupid libtard.
Ain't that crazy how they doing it? She never sleeps.
Your suicidal empathy. You're stupid. These kids don't care about anything. They're throwing glass bottles and laptops at each other. I'm supposed to take my political advice from them. I'm supposed to frame my politics based on these people? Get the out of here. No. But there you go. The Utes, boys. The Utes. This is perfect. This is great. I want you insufferable, stupid, white libtards to keep taking high school students, dip them in your own real stupid politics, and push them out for everybody to see. It's going to work out great. It's going to work out fantastic for me. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Sport Chat. Come today on them Utes. Hit the subscribe button and make way. This is so much fun.
They broke into everybody.
There you go, lefty idiots. Please keep self-immolating every single cause you attach yourself to, like some sort of herpes-riddled lesbian barnacle. When you attach yourself to pride, look what happens now. Everybody's using homophobic slurs again, like it's 1996. Oh, yeah. You attach yourself to BLM, and you push race relations back 60 years. Nobody cares about Ukraine anymore. Nobody cares about Palestine. And everybody, especially Minneapolis, hates you anti-ICE goofballs and wants everybody, especially you fat, white libtard chicks, deported at this point. Thank you. Keep doing everything. Keep blocking roads. Keep setting stuff on fire. Keep harassing Target shoppers trying to get clothing. Keep doing all of that. It's going to work out great for my side. Here's what you did the other day, you dumb tards. You went, marched in the street again because you don't have jobs. Walked.
She never sleeps. Thanks for subscribing. I don't go live all the time, but I do go live. And when I do go live, I'm bringing some stuff with it. You know, some good information and facts to talk about. So thanks for joining in the chat.
Past a bunch of vehicles that, oh my God, this, look how big this vehicle is. That's definitely an ICE vehicle. And then you smash the windows. Problem is, you were walking past a construction site and you busted up a bunch of blue-collar.
Yep, all love here, man. All love. Thank you, thank you.
Dudes, windows. You, again, we get you what? You keep doing what you want to. You keep doing this. This is great for my side. Oh, look at it. Look at this. What is this? A Chevy Silverado? This has got to be an ICE vehicle. No, I think the plumber's using this. See that guy over there? Not working very hard. Oh, take that. Take that. It would be worse than a plumber's an electrician. Sorry. But no, there's dudes over there actually working while you're over here participating in the self-masturbatory, look at me, I'm a good whitey in the middle of the street. Look at me, everybody. Look at me. I'm not like one of those racist whites. I'm a good white. And there's dudes over there trying to work. And you destroyed their vehicles because you guys keep mistaking TSA agents for ICE agents. You mistake anybody who's got muscle definition. It doesn't look like a number 2 pencil. You mistake them for ICE, and now you've mistaken these vehicles outside a construction site.
Don't shock the dog. You go.
Gee, how'd you mess
you
this
funny.
up? As ICE vehicles, and you broke all of them. Oh, all of the dudes on that construction site, by the way, now they're making more money. Now they're making more, but as we kick illegals out of here, those dudes making more money. They were already on my side. But now, as the rest of their family is going to have to pay the price for them having to get their window fixed, now their wives are going to be on our side. Yeah, boys. Yeah, boys. Yeah. Sorry, kids. No Christmas gifts for February. No Black History Month gifts for you. Why? Well, because I got to pay for all these windows that these insufferable, bugbear-looking white libtards just busted because they're insane. Right Angle News Network over here, leftist anti-ICE agitators. Well, you're terrorists. You're just straight-up terrorists. No, it's our First Amendment. It's your First Amendment to bust out their windows? Is it their First Amendment to break out your teeth then? Allegedly, of course, in Minecraft. They marched through Minneapolis yesterday, smashing the driver's side windows of cars they encountered and leaving many construction and blue-collar workers with their vehicles destroyed. There you go. Look at these ICE bastards indiscriminately hunting down Browns and blacks people, bust out their windows and dragging them off to Alligator Alcatraz. Okay, well, how are you going to stop that? Well, I'm going to go to construction sites and bust out their windows. Okay. Let's see how this plays out. It's a bad move. It's a dumb thing to do. But you guys keep taking the world's worst advice, and I'm going to get out of your way because I want to see natural consequences. I'm all for natural consequences.
Yes, it is.
60 windows broken. Look at this poor bastard over here. Like, broken. Look at all his poor construction dudes. They're working in sub-zero. They roof it in sub-zero. And you insufferable white libtard chicks are busting their cars up. Oh, that's a bad move.
The fucking window. Are you fucking kidding me?
Every window. Oh, look at him. Look at him. He's got a jawline, and he doesn't have female. He doesn't have male. What is our equivalent of the female penis, Abe? Anyway, look at him. He's not using hormone blockers or testosterone to get that jawline. He must be idiots. But there you go. The continuing trend of insufferable white chicks continuing to self-implode every single movement they attach themselves to, and this will not be an anomaly. No, this will be more of the trend. And in a few more weeks, if we just get out of their way, just let them keep doing this. I know it sucks. I know. You're like, oh man, no. Listen, guys, they stepping on a massive political rake over here. Massive political rake. Yeah. Even in Minneapolis, everybody's going to be like, nope, I need ice. More ice. As long as these idiots continue to destroy their own city with their, look at that, this is suicidal empathy. Yeah.
3 hours in. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. 3 hours in. Thank you.
The only thing more prevalent amongst white liberal chicks than SSRI drugs is that suicidal empathy.
Damn.
Insane. Love it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching the video. Sports Channel kept today with these dumb tards, making us some more allies. Hit that subscribe button and make way, because the soul must flow.
Of Lionheart Church in Georgia, and he is talking on this podcast. We need to talk, and oh, is he talking?
Yep, 8:17 in the morning. Yep. This will be my last video for the day. This is about a pastor breaking down how you feel about Trump.
You won't believe what he said about President Trump. It has the black liberal people, the ones that are crazy liberal, that put their color above God. Really, that is what I'll be talking about today on Chat with Me, Linda B. Be anything, your car, your house, your career. It can also be how you identify. Okay, so that can also be an idol. But here he is, y'all. It's a long interview. It's long. I'll put the link in the description box below so that you can view it at your leisure. It is very good, y'all. You're going to want to listen to the whole thing. You not just listen to the entirety of my video, because I'm not going to cover the whole interview, but the link to this video, it is in 2 parts. So it is very lengthy. But I'm not going to do that here. Okay, so.
Wasn't expecting that to happen. Thank you. I don't know what happened to my power, but let's get back to it. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. I just blanked out. Computer wanted to decide to update itself all of a sudden. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for staying with me. I can do all that right now. What the heck? This is crazy. The live stream doing good. My computer want to update itself right now. I don't want you to update right now. I mean, I do. All right, let's get back to it. Thanks for staying with me.
Unlocking the secrets of real estate home mortgage loans. Real estate home mortgage loans represent one of the most significant financial commitments individuals make in their lifetime. For most people, purchasing a home isn't possible without securing financing, making mortgages a cornerstone of the homeownership journey. Navigating this complex landscape requires a solid understanding of loan types, interest rates, down
box below so that you can view it at your leisure. It is very good, y'all. You're going to want to listen to the whole thing. You not just listen to the entirety of my video, because I'm not going to cover the whole interview, but the link to this video, it is in 2 parts. So it is very lengthy. But I'm not going to do that here. Okay, so let's just listen.
Unlocking the secrets of real estate home mortgage loans. Real estate home mortgage loans represent one of the most...
You were sharing how, as you were talking, I think the topic was you in relation to, I believe it was Trump. You were talking about some things about Trump and about how God has revealed how, what this administration means. A lot of people have a problem when you speak on those things. I just wanted to take a moment to kind of shed light. What's the issue? What were you saying? Because there's some things that you were speaking revelatory about.
Thanks, Bonnie. You too. Have a great one. Thank you.
And Trump being in place and what that meant. So could you share a little bit on this platform? I don't care if the stones get thrown. It's okay. When people are told something negative about someone and they believe it, people don't like to repent. They don't like to say that they're wrong. And they need to feel comfortable in their beliefs. Now, keep in mind that we have to put a whole, like I always say, I don't care about the sinners. They're supposed to be dumb. Okay. The Bible makes that very, very clear. It says the wicked run from stuff and there's nothing even chasing them. So sinners don't even count when it comes to this equation. The Bible says they don't have wisdom. They don't even have enough sense to accept Jesus. And Jesus died for them. Somebody offers you eternal life and a mansion. You're going to reject that, keep on smoking weed and go to the club, 5 bottles. Yeah, you go ahead with that. You're not even a part of the equation. When it comes to Christians, most of them are just regular people who they don't like to change. So they believe certain things about certain individuals and they've been told something for so long that they want to believe it. And again, I always tell people, Holy Spirit told me years ago, when the people pick the leader, God does not like him. When God picks the leader, the people don't like him. They didn't like Moses. They didn't like Jesus. They didn't even like David at first. Only reason they accepted David is because he beat Goliath down and then King Saul still tried to kill him. See, so when God picks a leader, and here's the other problem. God picks a leader based on his purposes. He does not pick a leader so that you can keep your health insurance. God got bigger things to think about than your health insurance. He has bigger things to think about than your little Social Security. Watch this. He got bigger things to think about than egg prices and gas prices, which, by the way, have come down half since he's been in office the 2nd term. So, but the problem is,
right,
that whenever God uses you, Satan
good one on that one.
Good one. Mess up your character. I am amazed. There's a book there. If we put this up, or you can just join it, you can just hear it. There's a book called The Paradigm by Jonathan Cahn. Every person that
is something, what he just said. Now, a lot of people don't even think President Trump is saved, but he, in my opinion, I'm not sure if he is or isn't. But this man right here makes me think later in this commentary.
I tell you one thing. I heard Trump says Jesus is way better than him. He mentioned about Jesus and God more than any other president I heard so far. So I don't know if he's saved or not, but he has mentioned Jesus. That's a start with me.
I'll let you hear what he says, but God picks the leader. The people don't like him. And he said, when God picks the leader, that Satan tries to come and destroy your character. Satan has been after President Trump something fierce. And it did not happen until he said he was going to run for president and destroy the evil powers that be that control things in the media, that control the public school system. See, when you are having a good time in this life and you're not getting any pushback, you
Okay, Mark. Okay.
a Christian, or you may not call yourself a Christian. Either way,
Like and subscribe, everybody.
Not on
Trying to get to 1,000 and beyond.
Because anyone that is on the road to heaven, I'm just keeping it 100 with you, is going to get persecution. Going to receive persecution is just a fact. And he mentioned Moses. Moses called hell with the children of Israel. Jesus, people were coming after him. And I'm not saying in any way,
Amen to that.
form
1970. That's what's up, man.
is as noble as those men are. But he is being used, for, in my opinion, for noble purposes. Now, somebody that's a wokety woke, and when I say wokety woke black person or blackety black, again, I'm saying the liberal black people, just to be clear, not common sense black folks, but or any common sense person, period, right? I am saying that because they're so focused on melanin. And that anybody that says something positive or who God has shown something, God has shown me some things about President Trump. He showed me that all of the lawfare and dragging him into court and all of the indictments were just...
Yeah, I got saved when I was 17.
They were not accurate at all. That President Trump was not guilty of any of those. That's what
Right,
God
love everybody. Love them all. Even your enemies. Love your enemies. Even
but
that.
I'm just telling you right now, I know what God showed me about President Trump. And that's just the end of it. Nobody can tell me anything different. Okay. God, I know I have a relationship with Lord, and I'm not bragging, but I do have discernment. I have wisdom. Point blank and period. That's just it. I'm one of God's. I belong to him. So it doesn't matter if people call me names. They can call me names, but one thing you won't call me is scared. You're not going to be able to call me that.
Hello.
Thank God.
Called The Paradigm by Jonathan Cahn. Every person that read that book said I was wrong about Donald Trump. Every person. And guess what I've told people? Before you argue with me, read the book. Guess what they do? They don't read the book and try to argue with me. So they let me know your mentality. You don't like to educate yourself. You just like to argue.
Oh, bless us. 1982. That's the year I was born, 82. November 10th, 1982, I was born.
With Worship with Wonders?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a close friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, him and his wife do worship services in the White House and the Pentagon.
Amazing. And when Joe Biden was in office, nothing against the LGBT community, alphabet community. That's y'all do y'all thing. But it's just funny how Joe Biden pandered to all that. And here we are with common sense. And we got Trump in office. Christianity, baby.
See, they don't know that they have Bible studies in the White House. See, you know what Christians do? Is they say, well, Donald Trump cussed. So did you when that person cut you off in traffic the other day. And you know what's worse than profanity? Is your gossip. Gossip is worse than cussing. And most Christians gossip. So while you judging him, you worse than he is because that man has more responsibility in a minute than you do in a lifetime. Okay? So yeah. So the man renewed his faith.
1965.
Publicly.
Okay.
Franklin Graham is his mentor. People just here in Atlanta, Jettison Franklin.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Other people, Wayne T. Well, let me not mention names. Wayne T. I mean, see, watch this. You remember in the first inauguration, Donald Trump became president? Think it's a coincidence that he asked for all Christian pastors to say those prayers? Go back and look at the first inauguration. It was Franklin Graham, Wayne T. from Detroit, Paula White, a guy named Hispanic pastor who believes in deliverance, Rodriguez. And all of them, when you listen to their prayers, they were actually canceling the curses that were on the United States. That's why all of them prayed in the name of Jesus. Most people don't know that Donald Trump selected them to pray and told them, don't script it. Do what you believe God is telling you to do. Did you know he's trying to get prayer back in schools? Did you know he mandated that every house should have a Bible? Did you know that they have a faith wing in the White House and it has its own office? Did you know that he has mandated for all Christians in the United States to pray 1 hour a week? That's just that side. Oh, see, they don't want to believe that. They want to believe what their mama and them told them. They drunk uncle who think he's an expert on world affairs. They want to believe what the Democrats tell them. You ever notice that Donald Trump wasn't a racist until he became president? I always joke and say Donald Trump was friends with black people I don't even like.
Let me just say this before he gets into the whole Jesse Jackson thing. He mentioned Democrats. Now, I did a live stream about Tim Walz, and for those of you who may have missed the live stream, I suggest you go back and watch it. But there is a close tie to the Democrat Party and Satanism. And President Trump is trying to bring Christianity to the forefront. Now, I have an issue with how he feels about marriage. He thinks it can be between, he's not quite there 100% when it comes to the biblical definition of marriage. But he is pushing in the forefront, protecting Christians. People should have a Bible in their home. They should pray.
Mike Lindell for the win. Yes, Mike Lindell.
Team around him. Franklin Graham is his mentor. Franklin Graham, you got to work with him on that marriage thing. Okay, you got to work with him on that because he's not quite there.
Thank you so much.
There on that. But I just wanted to let you guys know that Satanism is in the Democrat Party. Let me say it again. Satanism. Tim Walz received an award from the Minnesota Coalition of Satanists. It's called the Democratic Coalition of Satanists. In the state of Minnesota, gave Tim Walz, the governor, who is a Democrat, as you know, and who was Kamala Harris's running mate for vice president, gave Tim Walz an award. It came from the Satanic Temple. And this man proudly displays it in the Minnesota Capitol. It's not hidden in the back in some office or in a drawer locked away. It is in the forefront. This is wild. And that tells you everything you need
until
to know
November.
about where the Democrat Party
God is in control.
wants
God
our
is in control,
country
Mark.
to
You
go
know what I'm saying? You guys got it.
in the opposite direction of God.
We got it. God
is
in
very
control.
clear. And anyone voting for that party and who dismisses all the evidence that is out there concerning this party, and you vote Democrat anyway, I just feel like you're reprobate and just messed up in the head. I really do.
He was never racist. Did you know that him and why do you think Jesse Jackson been so quiet? When Jesse Jackson was going to run for president, Donald Trump was also going to run for president. I got the video. They interviewed Trump. You going to run against Jesse? Guess what he said? No, he said, that's my close friend, so I'm going to back out and I'll support him.
Wow. And then also, I think when Jesse ran for president, I think twice, maybe 3 times possibly, Trump backed him up, supported him, helped fund him.
They don't know this stuff. All they know is what the idiots on social media are saying and what the news media says. This man that is so evil is totally against abortion. This man that is so evil has reversed the mandate that women can go in a girl's bathroom, that women can be. He's reversed all of that.
Men can go in a girl's bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you know that he's mandated for the HBCUs to get $255 million a year, permanent funding that they never got before? HBCUs.
Right. Obama said, I can't help you guys with this college funds. It's impossible. Right. Y'all voted for Obama. I did too. The first time. The second time, I said, fuck that. This guy's a piece of shit. He don't care about nobody but himself. Him and Big Mike.
Organization that had to beg money from the government every year. When Donald Trump found that out, he gave them equal status to Yale and what's the other one? Harvard, permanently, even after he leaves. Even after he leaves. They don't know that. They don't know about the First Step Act. All of these things that he created so that men that are incarcerated can get a second chance when they got out of jail, and 90% of the people it affects are black men. Oh, I can just play around. I mean, why is it?
Okay.
Guess what they never talk about when it comes to his man? His results. Did you know what we just did with Venezuela? Well, I've been saying for years, all you got to do is start fighting a war against these drug dealers and they're stopped. So he decided to do it. Did you know that after they took the president and flew him past the Statue of Liberty, that they went back to the Venezuelan government and said, now
it's called a student loan, so pay it back.
800 pastors out of jail that the Venezuelan president put in jail. This is the type of stuff this man is doing in private. So men who have wisdom, we know this. People who watch reality TV, they don't. Because they on social media just looking up stupid stuff by stupid people all day long. These people don't even know how to do research. They just go with somebody put a video, Trump is a racist. That's right. He's a racist. Okay, you keep believing that. So again, that's just 1%. I just taught a whole message on showing them, him and Elon Musk. That for all your viewers, I dare you to go on Doge.gov, DOGE.gov, and look at the things that they canceled. You won't be able to get through February of last year without being offended. Well, how many was it? 200 and no. In the first 6 months last year, they canceled 10,400 contracts. They canceled 10,400 contracts that they were using with your tax money to fund. You know what one of them
Amazing.
was? They canceled about 6 contracts.
Let's get to 1,000. Thank you.
Where they were spending, one was $33 million on how to turn an animal gay. Would you like to know another one that they canceled? They were doing a study on how to study the menstrual cycle in men. I don't even need to be the Christian to understand this is stupid. I don't even know if Satan knew that they were doing that. This sounds like some foolishness y'all came up. So yeah, so Satan like, y'all gonna be on, like, y'all on another level. He in school. He said, y'all taking me to school. See, so here's the thing, is that if you put Donald Trump in the Old Testament.
Right. What you say, Mark? Right. So for me, I'm a barber, security, working in a warehouse, and now I'm a YouTuber. But yeah, don't security, I don't do security anymore, but I still cut hair on the side every now and then. But yeah, get a trade. It's not that hard. Once you leave college, you can get you a trade. Truck driving, barber, security. It's out there.
Our money was going towards menstrual cycles in men, turning animals gay. These people just make up stupid stuff. They don't even.
Right.
They just sit back and they just smoking weed and they just getting high and they just saying,
Thank you.
I got an idea. Let's do this. Okay, that sounds good. That's just so demonic. Even
right, same thing.
It's like y'all just going too far. This is easy. You see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, my opinion of President Trump is that I do respect him. I did support him in his last election, 2024, against Kamala Harris, and I looked at the policies, whereas before I was going by my
Joker
emotion
Jones.
and what
What's up? Salute.
It is dangerous to be emotional. When you're emotional, you can't think. And a lot of people, like he said earlier in this clip, that they don't want to repent. They don't want to admit that they were wrong. They rather just go ahead with the foolishness and all up in their feelings. And one thing he said that made me think too, he said in the Bible, this is what Pastor Otha Turnbow said in this clip. If you go back and rewind it, he said a foolish man or an evil man, I forget which one he said, runs when no one is chasing him. I heard, I hate to say it, black folks, liberal black folks, not talking conservative, but liberal, say that President Trump is going to deport black people from America. And they act a little nervous. To me, when he said that an evil man runs or a foolish man runs, but no one is chasing them, I thought about that. So
love you too, Mark. Same here, man. Thank you, man.
President Trump is going to deport black people. You fall into the line of that particular scripture. You are being foolish. Okay. You might not be running, but you are scared, thinking that this man would honestly do this, knowing that we cannot be deported. Use some common sense.
If you look at what he's coming against, it all is in the category of evil. The man just pulled Venezuela out of here because there's overwhelming proof that he in cahoots with the drug dealers. Every time you see a cartel movie, the government always in cahoots with the drug dealers. Then he freed 800 pastors. Why did he go to Nigeria? Because the terrorists were killing. Why did he bomb Iran? Because Iran said that they were going to create a nuclear bomb and kill Israel and the United States. We're supposed to just let it happen? When you look at who he goes after the drug dealers. He goes after the predators. He goes after the abort. You ready for this one? This is for your deeper audience. Let me tell you something. When I knew this man was being used by God, in his first term, I don't know if you remember this, the witches, the warlocks, and the abortionists all came together. And this is what they said, I quote, "We are asking everyone in the United States to join us on Facebook Live as we cast curses on the President of the United States and all who support him."
Pentecostal. Okay, old school. Yeah, that's definitely old school.
It was nationwide. told my wife, I said, let's see how stupid the preachers are on this one. Because last time I checked, Jesus said Satan will never attack his own. That's what Jesus said. And Jesus ain't never wrong. So if he said Satan will never cast out Satan, he will never attack his own. And then the people who represent Satan are attacking Trump. And then somewhere you got to ask the question is, well, maybe this Trump man is not a Satan.
Oh my gosh.
See, but they don't think like that. They don't know how to think. They just go with their emotions and they go with their arrogance and their pride. Everybody thinks that they know what they're talking about. So my test is, oh, well, let's see if you really know what you're talking about. Let's visit your address. Are you living paycheck to paycheck?
Right.
You still doing stupid stuff with your body?
This is my pastor. He in Forest Park, Illinois, Living Word Christian Center with Bill Whiston.
You still sleeping around? Is your spouse happy? Can your children even quote the books of the Bible? No, then you don't know what you're talking about. You don't. Everybody thinks they do. So, and then they get mad. Half the people in the United States got demons. Man, we're just all over the place. You can cut this however you want to. This is a true story. In President Trump's first term, I said something about him that he did. There was a first-time visitor in the audience. And right in front of the whole church, he challenged me. Sir, that's not right. What you just said is a lie, sir. No, you're out of order, sir.
Yep, we like him, man. Bill Whiston, he on it, man.
He challenged me in front of the whole congregation. And so I realized
Thanks, Mark.
that I had to preach, but also deal with the spirit at the same time. I told the congregation, I said, isn't it interesting how everybody is an expert today on everything? Boom, boom. So I went through the whole thing. At the end of the service, the man calmly walked up to the altar, got on his knees, and screamed as demons came out of him. Because when the man...
Yeah, Bill Whiston, he came humble. He left IBM and became a pastor. He's been in pastor, I think, since 92, if not longer than that. Yep.
Spoke, it wasn't him. It was the creature in him that can't stand Trump. But see, you know what? These people in these...
So, Jonathan, what's the truth then? Jonathan, what you got? Jonathan Wick, so what's the truth then? Don't jump in the chat and say he's a liar and that's it. What do you mean by that?
Cast out demons. So they don't know that the devils can't stand Trump. They can't stand him. Because the man is fighting the Lord. It's a crazy thing when demons tell you God is using that man to fight against what we established.
Ooh. That was Pastor Otha Turnbow of Lionheart Church. And on the We Need to Talk podcast, so a lot of what he said, you got to remember that Satan does not fight his own. I remember in the 2024 election, there's an article, and I did a video on it. I'll link it at the end of this one so you can go look at that video. Don't forget to watch it, because there were witches that were really going up against Trump. And they said they could not break through because people must be praying for him. See, Satan is not going to go after his own. He already got them. He's going to go up against what God is doing, or someone who really belongs to God. I'm not sure if President Trump is truly born again. I didn't say he wasn't. I don't know. He might be. Who knows? God will work all that other stuff out. God sanctifies. When we first get born again, there's a sanctification process that continues as we continue in the Lord. If we stick with God, God eventually gets all of that out of us. So I can proudly say that we have a president that God is using. And I'm happy about that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And people who are just on this I hate Trump train, I notice that the people, and I'm going to talk about the pastors that hate Trump also promote racism and division. They also seem to say horrible things about Jesus. They also appear to be anti-Israel. So these people are preaching satanic things from the pulpit. Not every church.
Right. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing. Thank you.
I don't even think you should even visit some churches. I don't even think you should step foot on their property. Some places like Stillbirth, I know it's called New Birth, but you know the nickname is Stillbirth because there's no Holy Spirit in there. They're not birthing any righteousness of God. They're birthing Satanism. Okay. And so those type of churches are anti-Trump. Coincidentally or not coincidentally. And the churches and pastors that respect Trump, that say, well, we should just pray for him, like this man here, Pastor Turnbow of Lionheart Church. He recognizes that God is using President Trump, and he does not speak negatively against President Trump. He said, keep your mouth off of him. God is using him. And this man also preaches the true gospel. So if I don't care what anybody says, the ones pastors that are anti-Trump also preach anti-God theology. They preach against God. We know what Jamal Bryant said about Jesus, and Jamal Bryant preaches racism. Then the ones like Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell and this pastor here, Turnbow, they always have respect for God's word, and they seem to be pro-Trump. You got to ask yourselves about that. And they also seem to be pro-Israel. So this is very clear. This is very clear of what we are dealing with. Satan is not going to attack people that belong to him. He's going to go after who belongs to God or who God is using. Okay, in this case, it's President Trump. President Trump is literally going after drug dealers, child violators in the worst way, all kind of criminals, drug cartels, drug lords, and then the Democrats want those people to stay.
Yep.
Remember, I told you the Democrats are closely aligned to the Temple. Okay, they gave Governor Walz an award. It's at the Minnesota State Capitol right now. And you can Google it. Did the Satanic Temple give Tim Walz an award? And the answer is an emphatic yes. Now, that should be very clear for Christians. And if it is still not, I'm going to just say, you know what, you just threw. Just go on and have your little fun because you're just on your way to hell. Some things we have to accept. We are not going to be able to pull people towards God. It's not us doing it anyway, it's the Holy Spirit. But some people have just die-hard made their decision. And at that point, don't waste your time with them. There's other folks out here who are unsaved, but who are willing to listen and won't harden their heart. We should focus on them, not the ones with hard hearts who are determined to go to hell. It's just wasting time, in my opinion. But you all, tell me what you think about this video. What do you think about what Pastor Turnbow said? All right, he's at Lion.
Right. Yep. Let's see something. I know I'm gonna play one more video, but this one right here, I think you guys will like. It's still related to about the pastor and Trump. That was 3 days ago. Let's see. Give me a minute, you guys.
Come on. So they sent over an agreement. I don't even read it. I sign it because I'm thinking it's a joke. You know, I signed a little venue agreement. On a Monday, he comes. His team comes. Half of the people look like me. I'm thinking these kids, you're with Trump? What? We're in the hood. I mean, you got to think about it. Look, you have the hood. And then you have the hood. You understand what I'm saying? In our community,
in our context, that's what you're left with. Because there's no vision of manhood. The way you get out of the hood is if you have if you're slaying crack rock or you have a wicked jump shot, right? I had cars, I had women, I had money.
He's not. I'm gonna leave it here. Let's do this.
It's just terrible. And the Holy Ghost right in the middle of it. Right in the middle of it. President Trump wants to come to your church. I'm like, yeah, right. What are you talking about? Yeah, okay, come on. So they sent over an agreement. I don't even read it. I sign it because I'm thinking it's a joke. You know, I signed a little venue agreement. On a Monday, he comes. His team comes. Half of the people look like me. I'm thinking these kids, you're with Trump? What? in the hood. I mean, you got to think about it. Look, you have the hood, and then you have the hood. You understand what I'm saying? In our community, like, you don't stop for gas. Like, my wife doesn't stop for gas by our church. It's like that. Methadone clinics, human open. It's the only street you can do open human trafficking. Can you believe that? Where you drop a woman off and you pick her up later that day. Wow. That's how bad it is. It's horrible. Methadone. The kids can't read, write, do math. It's just terrible.
And the Holy Ghost right in the middle of all of it.
Right in the middle of it, in the midst of darkness.
Yes.
There shines a great light.
Yes.
So now the Trump team says this to me. This is when I knew God wanted us to do this. I mean, I'm in Detroit. It's a Democratic stronghold. We haven't had a Republican mayor in 60 years. I don't think a Republican has come to Detroit since President Trump came in 60 years, literally. So anyway, I'm sitting there. The campaign says this to me. I said, Pastor, we want to be very clear. We want to make sure that people from the community come here. What did they think I'm smoking? They think I'm a street pharmacist. Yeah, right. Like, this is politics. Why would you do that? So, lo and behold, that Monday night, they called me and they said it's been approved. Tuesday, I wake up, I'm on the front page. I'm on the front page of the Detroit News. People are calling me left and right. I go right down to city council. And I said, look, by the way, anybody want to come? They're looking. They don't even put their hands up. They just put their hands up. Secret Service comes. They check the whole building out. Friday, the campaign says, by the way, Pastor, we want you to be a part of a roundtable. I don't even know what they're doing. Nothing was pre-programmed. Nothing was planned. He comes in, the most authentic person. Because in my community, when older white men get around black people from my community, because it's so polarized, not like the South, where blacks and whites have been working together. In Michigan, specifically Detroit, and in our context, it's so polarized. You'll have all black and all white. You won't have a mixture. As a matter of fact, Brighton is per capita the whitest city in America. You know, then you have Cohocton Township, where the Grand Wizard of Ku Klux Klan lives there. Hell, Michigan. So that's how it is in Michigan. To President Trump, he wanted to be around black people, and black people, they could tell, they know that. That he wasn't socially awkward. Then he says, "Do you pray for me?" People were yelling his name. They were this. So I'm a preacher. I'm in my church. I'm sitting there. They're chanting Trump. I said, hold on for a second, guys. We don't even chant Jesus like that. We gotta be careful around here. They're chanting his name. They literally sang happy birthday to him. It was unreal. I thought maybe there would have been a couple black people there to play. We have about 400 people there. Our church is about 600. We have 400 people there. 70% were black. The media, the lying media, I never thought the media would lie. They said it was nothing but all white people there. They just lied. It was crazy. Wow. There's blacks everywhere. So now he has us pray for him. I'm thinking, he said, Pastor, why don't you pray for me? And I just prayed for him, prayed for protection.
He prayed for protection. Yes.
Not knowing that 30 days later.
Well, and we're going to get to that. The day that Lorenzo, and he'll tell after we show it, he arrived at the Republican National Convention. This is so neat. The Holy Spirit told him to throw out his approved speech. Preach. So let's watch this clip to see what happened. He'll tell us about it when we come back. Well, there's always more to the story.
Yep. There you go. There you have it, you guys. 3 hours and 37 minutes in. I'm gonna cut the video. Get to my wife. I thank you guys. Like and subscribe. I'll be back probably let's say today's Monday. I'll be back Wednesday. Like and subscribe, everybody. Appreciate it.
I had all that, but I still